Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Big meme. Bookmark this now. Oh, shit. What do you call a hippo with a golden tooth? Wait, July 30th, the full joke. I'm sorry, what? This is like the craziest thread title I've ever seen in my life. I feel more empathy toward Plattner supporters and progressives who didn't vote for Kamala because of Gaza after the most recent Plattner allegation. Oh, what? Did you watch the Kalinsky video? Fuck no. Debate Mockler on this. Colorado passes bill to ban AI child porn. Jesus Christ. How would you even... What does AI child porn even mean? Wow, Zizor, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Like, imagine your mom, and then imagine your mom. Wow, Dahlia, thanks for the 10 bucks. There's a Whick panel right now. Bro caught a whole YN breaking into his house. Oh, I know what that means, because I'm cool.
Yep, they're breaking in the house.
Holy. Hold on, is this about to be not safe for life? Hold on.
They're breaking in the house. They're breaking in the house, and I'm recording. And I'm recording. And I'm recording.
Mama say get out.
And I'm recording.
The mama say get out.
And I'm recording. You see him? He got a gun. Bro, you gotta kill me, bro. You gotta kill me, bro.
The mama say get out.
You gotta kill me, bro. You gotta kill me, bro. It's a dude in the house with a gun. Yeah. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
The mama say get out.
Yeah, bro.
Okay. He's fucking lying. In what world is this not an endorsement?
Israel make actual changes to the way it runs itself, controls the
This stupid fuck outfit.
Palestinians, for example.
Yeah, sorry, it's gonna be really tough for me to poo-poo this guy, okay? I mean, come on.
Come on, dude. It's tough. It's tough, man. Perhaps that's the reason why so many of you make the wrong comparison when you say, oh, he could be like another John Fetterman, or you're like, oh, what if he was an IDF veteran, or whatever. You don't listen to what he's saying right now. You're like, oh, well, this is a lesser evil vote. How is it different than Kamala Harris? It's not a lesser evil vote. What the f are you talking about? It's not a lesser evil vote at all.
Israel make actual changes to the way it runs.
You get out of my mentions. You're a fucking shitlib Destiny fan. You're not on the team. You defend sexual abuse and spread Zionist propaganda like you breathe air. Jesus. Who even is this guy? It's not even... Okay, good one.
You don't like the answer. I think you're smart enough to understand it.
It speaks to the overall
when I start talking about sanctuary cities, you move on to a different policy. This allegation that Biden is dropping off immigrants in particular places.
Because unlike what you want to do, PISSCO, these are all connected issues. It's not like I can go. Listen, what you're doing is very dishonest. Where you go, it's one policy.
It's not dishonest to talk about
when these are interconnected webs. Yeah, but it is
Yeah.
dishonest when you want. Listen, anybody can look at one thing and be like, in and of itself, that one thing is not this. But whenever you combine them and you layer, it's like Jenga. If I just go in there and I grab all the ones from the bottom,
So are you conceding that sanctuary cities are not innately corrupt? Are you conceding?
Hold on. Wait, John Oliver is on General Hospital? Is it like a meme or?
I'll have your name. An oversight. I'll have your name added to the list of approved visitors.
I don't want to be added to the list. I want my daughter back.
Then let me put this in language that you will understand. That ain't gonna happen.
Oh.
An oversight.
Oh my God, that ain't gonna happen. God damn.
I would argue they are innately corrupt. Yeah, they are.
Right? So can we address that, or are you going to move on?
I do want to know why they're inherently corrupt. I am curious.
So, Dev, under American law, which you said you're not familiar with, and I appreciate that. Maybe you'll be able to help us all make some progress here and break some bread. So if you've got a city with 100,000 people in it, and it becomes a sanctuary city, and they let 10,000 people in and let them vote, and it skews policies towards the people who let the immigrants in, do you think that that's election interference, fraud, corruption of any kind?
I need more information to make that determination.
Okay, I mean, but like if they've, you can see why some people might, right? Like if you let 10,000 people in,
why it's corrupt.
I'm laying a foundation. I'm laying a foundation, counselor.
So we want to know why sanctuary city policies are
corrupt. I'll walk you through it. I got you.
Give some view into what these sanctuary policies entail, and as has been held by federal law, that there's no commandeering of state officials and state apparatuses of enforcement. That is a principle that's been expounded by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's a question for granting.
So not only is it, I'm going to explain exactly that these sanctuary policies have been approved by Supreme Court, now existing Supreme Court precedent. Now the question for you guys is, why is refusing to cooperate with DHS, as has been approved by the Supreme Court of the United States, why is that corruption? Answer it.
Oh, real simple. How about if someone sneaks a bomb through because they didn't work with DHS and it blows up?
Got him.
Corruption? Yeah, absolutely, that would be corruption. Like when you're saying you're arguing this, the idea that the people that are
hold on. Corruption. Hold on.
Okay, so
why is someone playing a bomb?
Hold on. Let's strip it to the. Let's hold on, please. Let's strip it to the principle behind it.
But the people allowing it to go behind it.
If a community
can show that.
If a community votes and says, "Hey, we don't agree with this federal law, so we don't want any of our local officials to cooperate with federal authorities in enforcing that law," is that corruption?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. There's a whole fucking civil war fought over states' rights and federalism, and guess what? Federal law supersedes local law, doesn't it?
Well, I'm gonna disagree slightly with my partner here. PISSCO, let me. Since I'm cutting him off, you should let me. So here's the deal. When we have federal law that says these are the rules, and states have their own laws, there's not a dispute that it's illegal for an immigrant to vote in a federal election. But when it is corrupt, when the entire state of California makes it easy for immigrants and incentivizes them coming, and then we have en masse illegal voters voting in federal elections, that is definitionally corruption.
Sanctuary cities.
Yeah,
what about
right?
examples of illegal immigrants being like
it's the vehicle for it.
Okay, hold on, guys. Hold on.
Dev, say this.
I think I know. So I think I know what you're trying to say. You're saying that there's a city, it becomes a sanctuary city. The Democrat politicians who run that city incentivize bringing in a whole bunch of illegal immigrants. They give them voting ID. They allow them to vote illegally. And then suddenly what ends up happening is these Democrats, they keep getting re-voted in by the illegals they brought in. And you're claiming that's corrupt, right? That's your argument?
Correct. They're importing voters.
That's just one type of corruption.
Well, just wait. Let's talk about this one then. Let's talk about this one. So I understand your point of view. Where is this actually happening?
The entire state of California and Minnesota. These are a very common leftist approach. It's actually
So,
to the point where literally,
Can you
if I may
post
just
proof?
finish 10 more
Oakland
seconds,
and
just
San
10 more
Francisco?
seconds. Yeah, literally,
So
we have
your claim is
illegal
the entire
immigrants.
state
who
of
literally
let
have-
Rev finish, please. And
with
I
literally,
don't know. I don't know why people look. I need to stop reading super chats on my own before I actually read them. But if you're gonna lie about what I'm doing, then you can leave. I don't know what you're trying to say. If we're gonna just lie about what I'm doing, I'm gonna lie about what you're doing, and you're not gonna like the lies I make.
Something way more interesting. Al Sayed versus Stevens debate live. Okay. The slopulism versus the non-slopulism, where no questions of substance are asked, and
you gotta run on.
Nothing of relevance is said. Yes, true. Okay, we'll go to this. At least the Whick stuff is entertaining, but all right.
Make Michiganders' lives. Again, welcome to both of you. The first question will go to you, sir. The number one issue facing people from coast to coast and right here in Michigan is no surprise. It's inflation, it's affordability. Everything costs too much. You can't fix it all. But if you're elected to the U.S. Senate, tell me one proactive thing you would do to make Michiganders' lives more affordable. 60 seconds, sir.
I've been up and down my state, 110 different cities, 450 public events. No matter where I go, people say the same thing. I just can't afford to live here anymore. I'm so worried about the price of groceries. I can't afford my gas. It's $5. I'm worried about getting sick because I can't afford my deductible. There's a number of things we need to do. Number one, we need to tackle healthcare by guaranteeing everybody healthcare without a deductible, a premium, or a copay through Medicare for all. Number two, we need to stand up to the monopolies and oligopolies that are picking our pockets. Number three, we need to stand up to increase wages. And that means standing with unions like the UAW and the nurses who've endorsed us. It means making sure that we are standing with Michiganders in their moments of crisis by making schools somewhere that our kids can go, by addressing the potholes that cause punctured tires every time you try to drive anywhere. But all of this has to happen by way of getting the corruption out of our politics. So long as corporations are buying politicians, we can't actually enact these solutions because they're getting the policies that they signed up for when they pay for their politicians.
Congresswoman Stevens, 60 seconds, please.
Well, thank you so much, Wood TV, and to everyone across Michigan tuning in tonight. As your next United States Senator, I will run through anyone and anything to lower costs. My no tariff on groceries bill. My bill to lower your utility bill. Look, I'm the only person running for
No tariff on groceries, Bill. Okay.
United States Senate in Michigan who is not a millionaire. I am not trying to sell a book or a podcast. I'm the only one on this stage who doesn't have a talent agent trying to pitch me for paid speeches. And unlike my opponent, I'm not running at the first mic or camera I see. Instead, my head is down doing the work for the people of Michigan who need the work to be done. We do not need a celebrity senator. We need a workhorse. And as the most effective lawmaker for Michigan in the House of Representatives, if you want a fighter and an effective leader for our state, that's me.
We also don't need politicians bought off by corporations. In this race, you've probably seen ad after ad after ad. Not one of those ads was brought to you by the Congresswoman's campaign. All of them brought to you by corporate PACs and APAC, trying to buy a politician who's going to do their bidding instead of yours. That's been the story of our politics for far too long. The question is not whether or not you're a billionaire. The question is whether or not you are bowing down to billionaires. And for too long in our politics, we've watched politicians beg for those dollars only to do that bidding when they actually get to office. That has been the story of my opponent. If you want politics is different, I'm the only one who's never taken a dime from a corporation.
Congresswoman, 30 seconds.
Well, look, transparency is oh so important. And this is why I have released my tax returns. My opponent, Abdul, he said that transparency is key, but yet he hasn't released his tax returns. Abdul, you talk about getting money out of politics and putting money in people's pockets. But who is putting money in yours? What are you hiding?
Moving to our next question, it'll be first to you, Congresswoman, with a 60-second response.
Wait, why doesn't he answer that?
Had been negotiating an agreement to end the conflict in Iran, but within the last hour, we are told that the United States military has launched a series of what they call powerful strikes after commercial ships were struck in the Strait of Hormuz. The question is, what should our policy be going forward with Iran? 60 seconds.
Well, our next United States Senator has one mission and one mission only, and that is to fight for the people of Michigan and represent the people of Michigan's interests. Donald Trump selling us out to this war in Iran that no one asked for, that is raising costs for every Michigander, is totally unacceptable. But here's the deal. In terms of the goal that I have long fought for and pushed for in the United States House of Representatives and what I will work for in the United States Senate, we need long-term peace. Donald Trump has failed us. The Prime Minister of Israel has failed in that regard, and he was just coming after me on this today. Look, I am unafraid, Michigan. You are my North Star, and no illegal wars, no unilateral wars at our expense.
60 seconds.
I think it's worth asking why we got into this war in the first place. There is one man who's been wanting this war fought, and that is the Prime Minister of Israel. And the reason that we've seen this war fought is because of the impact of AIPAC in our politics. AIPAC has spent tens of millions of dollars in attack ads against me or ads lying about the Congresswoman's record. They clearly want one individual, and it's not me. And ask yourself why it is that we are paying $5 gas, why it is we can't seem to get out of this quagmire. It's because for too long, our foreign policy has been handed to us by the likes of the State of Israel and AIPAC, who has made sure that Democrats and Republicans are doing their bidding. I don't take that money. They are spending against me because they've called me the most dangerous candidate for the U.S.-Israel relationship, because maybe I don't want to waste our money fighting wars we don't need to to spend. And instead, I want that spent here to rebuild our schools here, to make sure we have functional infrastructure here in Michigan, to make sure that we have healthcare here in Michigan. And so long as our politicians continue to be bought off by AIPAC, do not be surprised when we fight wars that are in their best interest, to annex Israel, to annex Lebanon, or to do genocide in Gaza.
Congresswoman, 30 seconds.
Well, Abdul, I would say no one is afraid of you. And in fact, the GOP is spending thousands of dollars to prop up your campaign because they think they will make it easier for Mike Rogers to win if you are the nominee. I do not plan to make anything easier for Republicans or Mike Rogers. What I do is I take on tough fights for Michigan, tough races, and I win for us.
30 seconds to wrap up this question.
Well, you know, if Congresswoman Stevens makes it or Mike Rogers wins, either way, Israel will win. AIPAC is perfectly fine with either of my two opponents because they know that they will have a comfortable, reliable vote in the U.S. Senate. If you want politics to work for you, if you want politics to rebuild your schools or fix your infrastructure or to invest in your healthcare, you have an alternative choice. We're running to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket and pass Medicare for all. There's a reason that both Chuck Schumer and Donald Trump don't want to see me on the inside of the U.S. Senate because I'm a threat to politics as usual.
Moving on, but staying in the Middle East, despite a ceasefire, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza continues, and Israel maintains that eliminating Hamas remains essential to its security. What, if any, is the role of the United States in trying to resolve this long-standing impasse? 60 seconds, sir.
I'll tell you this. For a long time, every president has said that they believe in a two-state solution. The problem, of course, is that our policy has been to subsidize the Israeli military to the tune of billions of your tax dollars every single year. And their goal is to foreclose on the possibility of a Palestinian state. I believe in international law. I believe we have to hold every country to international law, which means to me that we need to stop funding the Israeli military in unilateral blank checks. That also includes Egypt. That includes Saudi Arabia. I also believe that we cannot continue to sell weapons to a country that is doing human rights abuses, genocide, and apartheid. I also believe that we need to stop running cover for what has become a rogue state that is now trying to annex southern Lebanon. And I also believe that your money needs to be spent here. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate losers are you and me, the taxpayers who paid that money to provide good infrastructure, build schools, provide healthcare for our own kids, not to watch it get sent to buy bombs and tanks that end up annihilating other people and their children.
Congresswoman, 60 seconds.
The goal has to be long-term peace, and this is what I have longed worked for. I stood alongside families who had relatives taken hostage by Hamas, and I called for a permanent ceasefire. The difference between my opponent and myself on this issue is that I believe in a two-state solution. I can say that Israel has a right to peacefully exist alongside.
What's wrong with pointing out that pulling defensive funding would result in the same thing that happened to Palestine just happening in Israel, and then we'd have another humanitarian crisis? We would not have another humanitarian crisis because nobody here would give a fuck. Nobody would want to do anything. So these people would be totally okay with all the Jewish people being pushed out of Israel, 100%.
The people of Palestine.
Nobody will ask them that question, but they would be. They would probably even say it publicly.
And in Gaza, it is very clear that Mr. Netanyahu has not made us safer, has not brought us closer to peace, and he's endangered Jews here in America and around the world. This is why he was just trashing me today on CNN. I am not afraid of bullies. I am not afraid to stand up, and I continue to stand up for humanitarian aid, for the U.S. to work with the countries in the region and get aid into Gaza.
30 seconds.
Look, I believe in equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination for Palestinians and Jewish Israelis alike. But the question I think the Congresswoman needs to answer is, why has she allowed $40 million of outside spending, the bulk of it coming from AIPAC, to come into this race? I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu is attacking her to actually attack her. I think he's attacking her to try and steer away the stink of how staunchly she stands for their policy. So let's take that opportunity. Explain what you've given away for AIPAC support in this race.
30 seconds to wrap up.
No one owns my vote, and no one owns my policies. Anyone who is contributing to my Senate campaign is doing so because of my proven record of fighting for Michigan. What I did when I served as Chief of Staff on the U.S. Auto Rescue, saving 200,000 Michigan jobs, and what I have done to get the CHIPS and Science Act passed and signed into law. What my opponent needs to answer is, why is the GOP spending thousands of dollars to prop up his campaign, saying that he will make Mike Rogers the next U.S. Senator?
All right, we're going to move on. As I told you before we started, we have a lot of viewer questions. Amber Kriska is my colleague, and she will be presenting those. You'll be able to see them there. You'll be able to hear them in the studio. If for any reason they are not clear, let me know and I will repeat them. Here is Amber with our first viewer question.
A lot of questions on this next topic, bipartisanship. This is from Mark Newman. In the spirit of bipartisanship, talk specifically about how you will reach across the aisle. Name a particular project that you will champion that will require working with the opposing party.
Congresswoman, 60 seconds.
Well, I don't have to just talk about what I would do. I can certainly talk about what I have done in terms of passing bipartisan legislation like the CHIPS and Science Act. But to answer our viewer's question very specifically, I have a plan to lessen Michigan and the United States' dependence on China, to lower cost and to create those good manufacturing jobs. That is day one legislation for me in the United States Senate. And look, there is a reason why the Center for Effective Lawmaking recognized me as the most effective lawmaker for Michigan in the Congress, because I fight for us, I win for us. Debbie Stabenow has endorsed my campaign. Our Attorney General Dana Nessel has endorsed me for United States Senate because of their fight for Michigan and their results for Michigan and them seeing the same in me. And so, yes, when we talk about manufacturing, when I bring in my supply chain bill to the floor, I feel really excited about getting other colleagues on the Republican side to join me.
Thank you. Move on. Dr. Elsie, I had 60 seconds.
I'm proud to have been endorsed by the UAW. And the reason that they've endorsed me is because they understand that I am a fighter for working people. I can tell you that there is bipartisan support already to blow up the USMCA, which has been a cancer on our manufacturing industry in Michigan and the industrial Midwest in general.
Oh yeah, all of the Rust Belt states, they all fucking hate like NAFTA and anything NAFTA adjacent, right? Because they think that they should be making every single fucking car that we drive or something, right?
effort already to blow up the USMCA, which has been a cancer on our manufacturing industry in Michigan and the industrial Midwest in general. That is a bill, of course, that my colleague actually voted for. And I think there's bipartisan consensus that has been a danger. We have an opportunity to rethink trade policy to make sure that we're protecting good union jobs in this state and in this country. And I think that means rethinking how we do tariffs. Now, Donald Trump's version of tariffs is like chemotherapy, but you give the patient all the chemo at the same time. I think there's an opportunity where you pace it out. You think critically about how you protect critical budding manufacturing industry, and that you are transparent with your trading partners about how you do this in an effort to build long-term sustainable manufacturing jobs. I've heard a lot from Republicans saying that they want to bring manufacturing jobs back. Let's roll up our sleeves, work together to get that done.
30 seconds, Congresswoman.
Well, NAFTA was a crap deal, and it hurt a lot of Michiganders. And what is also hurting us right now are Donald Trump's reckless policies that Mike Rogers has said he wants to rubber stamp. There's a reason why the Gordie Howe Bridge isn't open, and Mike Rogers is rubber stamping that. There's a reason why a trade war is going on with Canada. Small businesses all over Michigan losing revenues as a result. I thought he was going to take on China. I've got the bill to do that and to lessen our dependence and grow manufacturing jobs. I've done it once before, and I'll do it again as Michigan's next senator.
30 seconds.
And the reason that the big corporations always get their way when it comes to free trade is because they buy off politicians to do their bidding. Everybody knew USMCA was not going to solve the problem. Everybody knew it. And yet, they bought the votes to get their way. And now you can buy a cheap TV, but you can't find a manufacturing job that can actually feed your family. That is the devastation of corporate politics. As the only candidate who's never taken a dime from a corporation, you know I'm going to stand up for you. It's the reason. Again, the UAW, nurses, AFT have all supported us because when it comes to the choice between working people and corporations, I will pick people every time.
Yeah, and it's the only reason you haven't released your tax returns, and 15 labor unions are endorsing me. I yield, Rick. Yes.
Amber has another. Sure, go ahead. Quickly, very quickly.
Yeah, I took the same extension that the Congresswoman took every single year.
I'm talking about your tax returns, Abdul. You haven't released your tax returns.
All right,
you don't need an extension to do that. Who's putting money in your pocketbook?
We're going to move forward with another viewer question. Amber is here with another viewer who wants to know where the two of you stand.
Is the Democratic Party shifting? Joe Beelan has our next question. He says, many of my friends who are Democrats are very concerned with the way the party has shifted so far left that the party no longer accurately represents their views. Will you continue on the current party path, or will you pursue your own path of leadership?
60 seconds for you.
I'll pursue my own path of leadership, educated by the countless days that I spent talking to Michiganders across 110 cities, 450 public events. Now, here's the thing about it. There is no left or right. Most people out there aren't asking, where do I fit on the left-right spectrum? They're asking, can I afford my groceries when I go grocery shopping? What's going to happen if I get sick or my kid gets sick?
Does anyone else?
Why does my kid's school look the same way it did 30 years ago when I went there? And the answer to that question is that for too long, politicians on both sides of the aisle have taken the same corporate corrupting money. I'm the only candidate on this stage, frankly, the only candidate running for U.S. Senate, who's never taken a dime of that money, which is why the real issue is about the people locking you out of your politics versus the people being locked out. And I will stand always on the side of the folks who are locked out. That is a pathway in our politics that I think all of us can get behind. It's not red, it's not blue, it's not Democrat, it's not Republican, it's American. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That is where our politics needs to go. And in the next 250 years, when we get to chart where we go from here, I hope we remember that that's what we need.
60 seconds.
I will run through anything and anyone to deliver for Michigan. We've got to lower the cost. Look, there are many who want to make this run for U.S. Senate about Washington, D.C. insider deals and what's going on with our party leadership. Friends, this is about the future of Michigan. Who is going to be the workhorse? Look, I've got the receipts. I have passed big pieces of legislation. I passed my first bill to secure STEM grants for our K-12 schools in my first year in Congress. I am ready to hit the ground for our schools, for our educators, and to stand up to the corruption and the abuse of power that we see.
Who is this Troy guy? Is he a good dude? Should we support him? Or also, who the fuck is he? Are people gonna be okay having just like a guy picked, or? He's another slopulist, DSA loser. Ugh. Ugh.
Coming down from Donald Trump. If you want to stop Trump, I'm your gal.
The question was about the direction of the party. Is it shifting?
Well, I'll tell you this. It won't shift if we continue to elect leaders who take money from the same corporations who have broken with the interests of the American public. Chuck Schumer desperately wants one of us to be the next senator, and it's not me. So if you want your politics dictated to you by AIPAC or Chuck Schumer, then I'm not your guy. I think we need to go back to the idea of government of the people, by the people, and for the people. $40 million of spending in this race. $40 million. I want you to think about what that means. That's money that buys something on the back end. So if you elect the person who took that money, don't be surprised when they betray you.
Except for, again, I have the receipts as the most effective lawmaker for Michigan. I'm not trying to go viral or get a good tweet out, all right? If you check the facts, the claims that my opponent has made about eradicating medical debt are untrue. If that's all you got to run on, Abdul, well, then good for you.
It's worth noting here that over the weekend, a third candidate that was in this race dropped out. That leaves the two of you. One of you will face Republican Mike Rogers, as you both talked about a little bit here. Congresswoman Stevens, you've been endorsed, as you said, by former Senator Debbie Stabenow, former Governor Jennifer Granholm, and as you said, by the Attorney General. You have, Mr. El-Sayed, been endorsed by Bernie Sanders, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and a number of others. I went to both of your websites, long list of endorsements. Is this race not only about control of the U.S. Senate, which it may well come down to, but is this race also for control of the Democratic Party. Is there something else on the line here? 60 seconds.
Well, I'm not going to let the pundits or the prognosticators make any such determination. For me, this has always been about Michigan. I am the daughter of small business owners who met at Oakland University. My dad is 81 years old and still driving his Ford F-150 with the word Stevens Landscaping on the side, and he's drinking his water. Look, it's that value of hard work, that ethos that I grew up with.
How do people not pick up on these anti-Semitic dog whistles? Destiny, it's kind of an issue when you play this stuff uncritically. You're doing the equivalent of playing a race realist video without pointing out what the lies/distortions are when you watch this kind of anti-Semitic shit. You aren't equipped to notice the dog whistles. I'm sorry, my dude.
That has always long motivated my approach to public service. And the reason I have put up my hand to run for U.S. Senate is because of what I'm hearing from Michiganders, because a fully paralyzed veteran reached out to me and asked me if he was still going to get his benefit check because he saw Elon Musk walking around with a chainsaw. I have stood up, I have called these guys out, and I am stopping these abuses of power. And you better believe from the United States Senate, Michigan's voice will be heard with me.
60 seconds.
I never intended to run for office. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor because I could go 15 hours to my family's native Egypt or 15 minutes from where I grew up. I went to medical school only to realize that our healthcare system was in fact part of the problem, not part of the solution. I went into public health. We eliminated medical debt. Yes, we eliminated medical debt. We put glasses on kids' faces. We took on corporate polluters. We provided free health insurance.
Like Mr. Beast!
Did the things that for too long government fails to do under leadership that is bought off by corporations. I'm running to do three things. Get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all. I'm not doing this because of some direction of a party. I'm doing this because of the Michiganders that I've gotten to see. A woman who had cancer 3 times and managed to hold on to her life savings until the 3rd one. A woman who lost her entire life savings because her kid got cancer and died. People who have come and shared their burden with us. If we continue to allow corporations to buy our politicians, do not be surprised when everything gets more expensive and your job gets further out of reach. That is the politics that is corrupting now, and we need different.
30 seconds.
Well, transparency remains really key here. You can see my tax returns. I've made them public. Again, I call on my opponent to do the same because we do need to know who's putting...
Wait, why would he not make his tax returns public? Is it because he is a lot wealthier than maybe people think and it would just be like an attack point, or... It feels like an easy no-brainer thing. I don't know how normal it is. Maybe it's not an ordinary thing that they do in these elections, and so he doesn't want to be like held hostage by some weird extraordinary ask. I don't know.
Money in your pocket, particularly if you have a talent agency getting you paid speeches. I've been busy doing the work for Michiganders. Period, full stop. Power Outage Relief Act. We're still dealing with that. Small businesses losing their revenues. We got to do supply chain security. I've got a bill for that. I am ready to go for us, Michigan, on day one.
30 seconds to wrap.
Day one.
People sleeping in dark rooms without electricity for the 4th straight day. My opponent's taking $37,500 from DTE. Ask yourself what that buys. Our politics have been deeply and profoundly corrupted by corporate money, and I want to get money out. You want to talk about transparency? There's a group called Center Forward that happened to pay for a flight for the Congresswoman and her mother to Portugal. I want to understand what she promised them in return. You want to talk about transparency? Why are there $40 million flowing into our politics right now in support of my opponent?
Yeah. Well, and again, I have the receipts and I have the bill to stand up to the utility companies at a lower rate.
Explain the receipts.
So, yes, I've got the multiple bills.
I'll give you a chance when we come back in a moment. But first, we're going to take a break. And when we come back in 90 seconds, we're going to talk about something that has been discussed a lot in the past few months, and that's immigration enforcement and ICE. That's coming up. But first, we're going to take a break. The candidates will enter the spin room once our debate concludes. There is a QR code right now that will take you to our live post-debate coverage on Wood
Okay,
TV.
not to attack people's accents, but I feel like I heard Stevens talk before, and she sounded kind of whatever. I feel like she sounds a lot sharper here. Was that just like a weird clip we watched, or because she sounds relatively normal here? I don't know.
Plus, we'll be right back.
If you're going to med school, you have to have a rich as fuck family, no? No, definitely not. You could get scholarship, you could do student loans, there's ways to do it. Chances are you come from a more well-off background. Now, if you go to med school and then don't even become a doctor and get your master's after, that sounds like the fucking most expensive extended undergrad ever. Holy shit. But I don't know. I don't know his background financially. I don't know anything about him. So.
All right, everybody, we are in a break
Continue
right
with the questions
now.
that we have. Many people have been critical of immigration customs enforcement, ICE, in the past months regarding their methods, their detention facilities. Both of you on some level had some questions, problems with and about ICE. If not ICE, how could we deal with the estimated millions of people in this country that didn't come through the proper channels, that we don't necessarily know who they are or where they are? I'm going to start with you, Dr. El-Sayed, with 60 seconds. What do we do with that situation?
Yeah, what do we do?
I just want to be clear. I went to Minneapolis at the height of Project Metro Surge. I watched as our government laid siege to a city in our own country, it was awful to see. ICE is not about immigration. ICE is not about the southern border. I was on nearly the northern border. ICE is about normalizing paramilitary force on our streets. I've been clear that you can't reform ICE, you can't retrain ICE, you have to abolish ICE. Now, that's not to say that we can't secure our border. That's not even to say that we can't actually enforce our immigration policy. That is to say that we shouldn't do it at the edge of destroying our Constitution itself. ICE is a new agency. It is younger than I am. We have done this in the past in a way that respects the basic rule of law. And if we're serious about actually having a pathway in this country to a humane, thoughtful, common sense immigration system, we've got to invest in the court infrastructure that offers a pathway to citizenship for people who built a life here, that lived here peaceably, and contributed to our society. I think that's the responsibility we need to go to while keeping our southern border safe and secure.
What would we do about ICE in 60 seconds?
Yeah, well, before I jump to the bipartisan border
Who
security.
do you think are smarter on average, engineers and scientists or doctors? Oh, definitely engineers, because they are so good about titling all of their stuff incredibly complicatedly, so people give them credit for things, and then doctors just call themselves doctors, which is the same thing that like PhDs call themselves. So bad marketing equals retarded. If doctors were as smart as engineers or other people on average, they would call themselves health engineers instead.
Security bill that I do support. It must be said very clearly that Donald Trump's ICE is completely out of control and it is an abuse of power. ICE agents from top to bottom that have committed crimes have to be held accountable, and I've got the legislation to do it. I called on Kristi Noem to go. She was removed, but no reforms took place. They took $70 billion of our taxpayer money into an ICE slush fund. This has been a failure. A temple in my district was blown up. It wasn't ICE that stood up. It was state and local law enforcement. That money needs to be redirected to those law enforcement agencies that are responsible for our safety and security. Donald Trump has abused his power. He has failed the American people, and we need change.
30 seconds.
Look, I appreciate the change of tone on ICE. I mean, my colleague voted to thank ICE and increase their budget and also took money from people who run ICE contracts. That to me seems very different than what we're hearing now. I've been deeply clear. I don't take money from corporations. I don't take money from ICE contractors, which is why I can say with a clear voice, we need to abolish ICE. I think we need clarity about where folks' money comes from and what trades they make on the policy on the back end to swab in, to
How can he say that without opening his tax returns, though? Uh-oh.
30 seconds to
hit him with a tax
It's
line.
really unfortunate yet again to see my opponent pursuing Republican tactics.
Oh.
There was a bill on the House floor to condemn an anti-Semitic terrorist attack that in Boulder, Colorado, that killed an individual and injured a Holocaust survivor. Instead of bringing us together, Republicans put in a cynical point about thanking ICE. I'm always going to stand up to violence, and I just wish my opponent wouldn't pursue the cynical approaches of Republicans when we do need to be united.
Amber's back with us with yet another viewer question. Let's do this question, and then we're going to come back to some of this in just a moment. Let's do the question.
Childcare is one of the biggest expenses for the average Michigan family. Jacob Exline,
The
who is an
average
early childhood
Michigander.
educator, wants to know, what would your plan be to make childcare more affordable for families as a U.S. senator?
Congresswoman, 60
Yes,
seconds.
I have long championed affordable childcare here in Michigan and across this country. And in fact, I was on the phone with the daycare centers and the families when COVID hit, fighting to secure dollars to make sure that daycare centers and the people who work in them stay open and employed. Look, the costs continue to go up. The way in which we can lower daycare costs are through the expansion of CDBG funding and grants that match what our great governor here in Michigan did. I actually went to a daycare center with her in Troy, Michigan to celebrate some of the programs that she put into place. And the other deal that we need is we need paid family leave. I'm a champion for paid family leave. We need to secure the ability for new mothers and fathers to have that precious time with their newborns. That's another critical step. I've got the record.
60 seconds, sir.
I'm a father of 2 daughters, and the child care for our youngest, who's 3 years old, is one of the most expensive items on our entire budget. It is insane how much people have to pay. And for a lot of folks, this has become a gender justice issue. It's forcing people out of the workforce, predominantly women, and it's holding them behind from lucrative opportunities that they can use to advance their family in the first place. I think we need to make childcare free, 100% free. Now, how do we pay for that? We pay for that by taxing billionaires their wealth. We could render $4.6 trillion if we were willing to put, let's say, an 8% tax on billionaire wealth. This is not that difficult, but it's a function of our values. Do we care enough to make sure that women have access to the workplace, that children have a safe, healthy place to go, or would we rather be the kind of economy that allows billionaires to make a second billion, a third billion, a trillion?
Billionaires.
That is the question we need to answer. And ultimately, so long as we allow billionaires and corporations to buy politicians, we're going to get the wrong answer.
30 seconds.
This Senate seat is considered a toss-up for November, a 50-50 chance that it will go Democrat or Republican. The one thing that I do is I win tough races. I flipped a congressional seat that was long held by a Republican, blue in 2018, and I held it when Donald Trump was on the ballot. Living my values, living the values to make change and improve people's lives. Mike Rogers, he's not going to do a thing to impact child care and make it more affordable for families.
30 seconds.
Look, if you want somebody who's electable, the last 3 polls in a row show that I'm the most electable Democrat in November. Why? Because you got to actually fight for something. It's not enough to offer people 2 options that kind of look the same on the issues that matter the most.
Wow,
if you're taking
true.
money from corporations, the same corporations, Democrat or Republican, how different are things really going to be? I'm offering an opportunity to actually invest in what we want to fight for healthcare that is guaranteed, for an economy that works for working people, for finally getting corporate money out of our politics.
Yes.
Well, with all due respect to Abdul, I think he looks a lot like more like Mike Rogers than I do.
All right.
Oh,
so we have
she kind of
apparently scratched the
misspoke a little
surface on
there.
a couple of differences between the two of you. And this is not scripted, and this is not something that's planned. planned, and the people in the control room are about to pull their hair out. But I want to give you 30 seconds, and I want to give you 30 seconds to pursue whatever this is that's going on here. Obviously, you've got a question about some of the money in her campaign. You've got a question about some of the money in his pocket. 30 seconds, go.
Well, look, my opponent wants to make this race about lies and attacking my integrity and the work that I've done for the people of Michigan. Look, I was the person from Michigan on the team working on President Obama's auto rescue. I have a proven track record that I am proud of fighting for this state, standing up to special interests, and I have 15 labor unions standing alongside me in this fight and some other proven individuals as well. So can we stop the lies, and can we get the transparency out that my opponents long talked about?
I'd love to stop the lies that are being told on TV by organizations like the Center for Democratic Priorities, which, by the way, didn't exist until it started to run ads for my opponent, like the United Democratic Progressives, which, by the way, is a front for AIPAC, like Center Forward, which bought airline tickets for my opponent, for her mother and herself to go to Portugal. I don't know what they talked about. I don't know what they did. So if we want to talk about lies, I think it's really important for us to understand who's paying for them and what was said on the back end to allow them to be told, because $40 million just doesn't come for free.
So is the GOP...
I'm glad we got that all cleared up. So we're going to get back to these questions. I want to talk about data centers for a minute. I'm going to give you a premise. You can agree with it, you can disagree with it, but here's my premise.
Data centers?
Data centers are going to be built somewhere no matter what happens in Michigan. So the question is, are we better off to have some of those centers here, or should they be actively opposed, as they have been by many citizens in meeting after meeting across the state? And it's first to you, sir. 60 seconds.
Look, right now people are scared to death that there's going to be this gigantic data center put in their backyard so people like Mike Rogers can make gender-affirming videos about how buff they really are. I think we have to be serious about the fact that these pose real dangers, and the people who are pushing them are the richest, most powerful corporate CEOs in the history of our economy. And so we've put forward a terms of engagement. We want to make sure that if you want to put a data center anywhere, that it's going to meet the following terms: all union labor, no raising our utility rates, increasing our utility reliability, not touching our water, and then there has to be a community benefits agreement that's negotiated in good faith with all the money put up in escrow, and this has to be fully enforceable, including shutting down the data center. That has to be passed at the federal level. Now, here's the thing. Big AI has huge super PACs that guess who they're funding, not me, the other person on the stage. And so the question for us is, are we willing to actually do what it takes to protect people from these risks, or are we going to let them roll us, just like corporations continue to roll our politicians over and over again?
Congresswoman, 60 seconds.
Yeah, well, look, the citizens need to be heard on innovation and data centers, and it is up to federal lawmakers to secure the tax code so that these gajillionaire enterprises are paying their fair share. It is unacceptable that rates would go up as a result. I want to force these data centers to pay the utility bills and to pay water bills for folks. And look, I also want to secure Michigan being on the forefront of innovation and manufacturing. I visited hundreds of manufacturing shop floors. They are using this technology. We want the jobs. We just can't afford to force the workers to pay for it. And look, yet again, my opponent takes jabs, except for he won't denounce the GOP when they are funding his operation and his candidacy, and now bragging about the false polls that they're putting out that he's going to be the best one to beat Mike Rogers. That's me.
30 seconds.
I'm sure everybody out there thinks that Republicans really want me to win this race. Sure. The real question is, how much money has the AI industry spent in this race? And why are they spending it? And whose vote are they buying? And what does that mean for you? If you want a future where AI is fully unregulated, where we lose, 50% of our jobs, where a data center sits in your backyard, you have a choice. If you want someone who's going to stand up for the people against the corporations, you also have a choice. Notice, none of the answers actually speak to any of the points I'm making about the money that is being spent in these races to corrupt our politics.
Because I have receipts, and the people who are watching this need to evaluate who is running for U.S. Senate, the chief lawmaking role in this country that has the record, that is not a show horse, that is not, I'm not someone trying to go viral and shouting into a bullhorn about problems. I am delivering. That is not something my opponent can say. He's great at attacking, and he's great at covering up that his father-in-law is running his super PAC that's spending millions of dollars for him.
All right. Going to move on to a question that you have both addressed, because these go together. And this one will go first to you, Congresswoman. We hear a lot about AI, artificial intelligence, hear about it every day. I doubt that most of us have a really good grasp of exactly what it is, what role it's going to play in our lives going forward, what role the government has in putting guardrails on technology that few fully understand, that could be a positive game changer that is evolving all of the time, and is displacing workers already. We know that that's happening. So should the government jump in the business of regulating AI? 60 seconds.
Yeah, and look, Abdul is lying. Again, he has a super PAC that is run by his father-in-law that has spent millions of dollars on his behalf, and the GOP is also spending money. It's good to know that his father-in-law isn't involved with AI. Here's the deal. I passed my first AI bill into law in 2020, all right, in my first term in Congress. I have supported resources to invest and protect in the privacy for consumers and to stand up for the little guy, particularly small businesses who need equitable investment, black-owned businesses like ones I visit on the regular, who oftentimes are getting the short end of the stick, and they certainly are from Donald Trump. I want to make sure that resources are coming into our communities and that jobs are protected and maintained. We can do this here in Michigan. We just need the right leadership, and I believe that is me.
Do we need to regulate AI? 60 seconds.
Absolutely. First, I just want to be clear. The National Nurses United is not my father-in-law. Working Families Party is not my father-in-law. The UAW is not my father-in-law. But I also want to speak to the fact that we do need to regulate AI. And so long as we are taking money the party is taking money from the AI industry, it's not likely to happen. I proposed a plan putting AI under democracy. What does that mean? That means that I want to make sure that legacy internet companies no longer own the means of creating AI. The AI corporations are spun off as public interest corporations, and that at least 50% of their boards are publicly appointed, meaning through the democratic process. I also want real clear guardrails on what AI can and can't do. I want an agency that
opinions,
for AI.
actually.
He has what?
Crazy opinions.
Yeah, that's
50% of their board through a public
Hell
appointment?
yeah, I want to vote on the fucking board members of Anthropic or fucking Claude or Jesus.
Let me vote on X.
Yeah, true. Jesus. Okay.
And I want to make sure that we pass our terms of agreement. I can say all this because I'm not bought off by the AI companies. You talked about that 2020 regulation. That was a giveaway to the AI industry. So yes, if you want someone who's really effective at giving giveaways to the AI industry, you have your option in this race.
30 seconds.
Well, I'm pleased that my opponent read my deepfake bill to better detect the use of AI, particularly with our children. It was written alongside the National Institute of Standard and Technology, and I'm proud that that passed. And you should be supporting it, not attacking it. But that seems to be the only thing and stunt that he can pull while the GOP is supporting his campaign.
Ooh.
And look, I worked really hard to make sure that Kamala Harris was going to get elected and that Donald Trump would be stopped. And my opponent did nothing.
I don't know what Kamala Harris has to do with AI, but I want to speak to the fact that right now we have a choice. $40 million. We're being outspent 30 to 1 in this race, 30 to 1. That money is coming in from AIPAC. Their goal is to make sure that our money is sent abroad to kill other people rather than kept here to invest here. Now, the question you might be asking is, what does it have to do with the question about AI? Government will continue to work for the people who buy off government so long as we allow people to buy off government. It is that simple. And you're seeing a case in point of that.
This next question is one that I take very seriously. I suspect many of the viewers do as well. The national debt is more than $39 trillion. $39 trillion.
Tax billionaires.
Now, the interest on that debt's about $1 trillion a year. CBO says by 2036, it'll be about $2 billion a year. That'll be about 25% of every dollar that comes into the national treasury. What do we do to begin to reduce this burden that will be passed along to your children and likely their children? Would you raise taxes? Would you vow to cut spending? What would you do? 60 seconds.
Look, as everyday Michiganders know, that a budget sheet is about money in and money out. And for a long time, folks on the conservative side want to tell us that it's all about money out. We're spending too much. But then they do two things. They cut taxes for the richest people in society, and then they cut things like healthcare. And guess what happens? They fight wars that we don't need to fight. So money out goes up, money in goes down, and we run up the national debt. And then Democrats show up, and we're trying to be effective stewards of the national debt. So here's what we need to do. We need to run the play in reverse. How about we end stupid wars we shouldn't be fighting at the behest of foreign governments? How about we start taxing billionaires their wealth so that we can return trillions of dollars to the economy? And how about we invest our money in the things that people actually need, like good education, childcare, good hospitals, and healthcare? Those are the opportunities we have in front of us so long as we don't allow the same corporations and billionaires to buy our politicians so that they keep doing these ridiculous things.
60 seconds.
Our national debt keeps me up for Michiganders, and it is very serious, in part because it is mortgaging the future of our children. And the way in which we get out of our debt and deficit mess is by taxing the growing billionaire class and forcing them to pay their fair share. We are growing our economy, except for it's just with the very, very few who aren't paying their fair share. If you listen to Donald Trump, who my opponent just admitted he didn't do anything to help stop him from getting elected, he wants to do everything for the billionaire class. Donald Trump did tax cuts for them while cutting our food assistance and our health care benefits. It's not acceptable, and it's not working. We can't look at the middle class here in Michigan and force them to keep paying. People can't pay their bills right now. People are underwater. I've had 2 working moms in the last day tell me that. It doesn't work.
30 seconds.
Look, I just want to be clear. I endorsed Vice President Harris. I campaigned for Vice President Harris. I really wanted Vice President Harris to win this race. Now, ask yourself why we were where we were. Because for too long, our policy has been wrong on a number of critical issues. And it's been wrong because of the role of special interests in our politics. The same exact special interests who get their way when it comes to our tax system. The same exact special interests that have us fighting stupid wars we shouldn't be fighting. The same special interests who are funding my opponent.
Ooh. 30 seconds for you.
Well, look, leadership is going to get us out of our debt and deficit mess. And as someone who has my finger on the pulse of the needs of the middle class here in Michigan, you and your family, and I have the receipts and the track record of standing up for you when it matters, when 200,000 Michigan jobs were on the line, when General Motors and Chrysler were going to go bankrupt, and I worked on that initiative to save your jobs and those jobs. Look, we can use tax dollars effectively without letting our country go bankrupt.
Here's another question that Amber has for us, and this one kind of goes along with what we're talking about. Here's Amber.
Social Security is a top issue for many Michiganders. This next question is from Mark Luxford. As a senior, Social Security is a very important issue to me. What is your opinion of the proposal to guarantee adequate funding for this critically important program by raising, or better yet, eliminating the income cap for the FICA tax that funds Social Security?
60 seconds, Congressman.
Well, I fully endorse that proposal of eliminating the FICA cap and making sure that folks are paying their fair share. What is going on with Social Security right now is another example of how Donald Trump and the billionaire class believe that they can rob our Social Security trust fund and force the middle class to pay for the crisis that we are going to be in. We can fix this.
I'm surprised it never had a cap.
Stood up to Donald Trump.
Wait, surprised what? It never had a cap?
The FICA? I assume that's the Social Security cap. Like if you make like $300,000, you only pay X amount into Social Security and it doesn't go over.
Oh. The rationale is that, like, you can only get so much out of Social Security, and Social Security is treated as kind of like a government-managed retirement plan. So the reason why there's a cap is because, like, if you put in millions and millions and millions more, you're still going to get the exact same out, basically.
Yeah, well, I don't think people who are millionaires should be even getting Social Security.
Oh, wow. So you want a means test. Not good. Not good, Mooten.
They're already investing.
Today, and said, rehire the Social Security workers that you have fired, because my constituents, they're on the phone trying to get access to their disability benefit, their retirement benefit, and no one's picking up. And again, these are programs that folks have paid into. I believe in it. Mike Rogers, Donald Trump, they're going to sell us down the Potomac River.
Whoa. 60 seconds.
I've talked to so many seniors who are struggling. They're struggling because they paid their home off 30 years ago, but the property tax is getting too high. Their premium on their Medicare is unaffordable, and their Social Security just doesn't cut it. No worry, they might lose that Social Security. So yes, absolutely, we have to lift the cap. It would make Social Security sustainable, but we've got to go further. I think we need to be eliminating the premiums, the copays, and the deductibles on Medicare, and we need to make Medicare fully sustainable by extending it to everybody. Medicare for All would do exactly that. On top of that, I think we need to be freezing property tax for seniors. If you paid off your home, at some point, we can't expect you to keep up with property taxes that are going up. Now, how do we pay for that? Well, again, if we tax billionaires their wealth, if we were to invest in the Department of Education so that we're paying centrally for public schools,
homes,
there are a lot of opportunities for us to lift the burden off the seniors who've done their job. They've worked extra hard. They deserve a dignified retirement.
People, man.
We've got to be thinking about
they
how
don't need anything. They don't need any help from us.
They are bankrupting the Social Security Trust Fund. It is unconscionable and wrong, and Michigan is going to have a choice about who it sends to the United States Senate to do something, who's got the vision long-term for a 6-year term to tackle a tough issue, and that is what I've done over and over again. I have a plan for Social Security, a plan to be able to work across the aisle if need be, and most importantly, stand up to Donald Trump and Elon Musk in this moment.
30 seconds.
Look, I'm here to serve you. I'm somebody who worked in the bowels of city and county government. Those are the kind of jobs where you can't dodge tough issues. You got to show up Monday through Friday and Saturday and Sunday too. You've got to make sure people get the services that they need and deserve.
Ooh,
and I know in places
she doesn't
like
even want to work weekends.
people who work in local government, but I also think that we need that viewpoint in the U.S. Senate right now. We also need the viewpoint of a doctor, somebody who understands what it's like to make sure that you look people in the eye and deliver for them. And I think we haven't had that viewpoint, frankly, in the Democrats since 1969. I ain't off of that.
Is she going to get it?
This is going to be our final question. We're going to limit this answer to 45 seconds. There will be a rebuttal, but 45 seconds on the main question. The current economic tensions with China have created concerns that range from cheap electric vehicles being flooded into some international markets to military concerns over the buildup of China's armed forces and the dependence of our own military on Chinese goods and services. Should we be working to lessen our dependence on China, and how should we deal with a major competitor as well as a major trading partner? 45 seconds.
My dad moved to this country to learn to make cars, and he believed in this place. He immigrated from Egypt, a place where that was not possible, and he chose to come here because this
they
was a
can't
place
make cars in
where
Egypt, really?
Innovation, ingenuity, those were unleashed. We had the mighty UAW who was empowered to make the cars that people like my dad would design. The challenge, of course, is that corporatism has gotten in the way. I remember when my dad came home in 1996 and said, a company that's more interested in finance than it is in engineering is not going to be a car company very long. Fast forward 2008, there we were. I think we need to make sure our corporations think long term. I think we need to make sure that we are using trade as an effective way to empower and protect our manufacturing capacity. And then I think we need to unleash ingenuity by investing in research and development for the future. This needs to continue to be the most innovative place, and Donald Trump has sold that way far away.
45 seconds.
Well, to every engineer watching tonight, I know how a CNC machine works and a robotic welder. I am Michigan's manufacturing geek, and nothing is motivating me more than standing up for our manufacturing sector and our jobs, and that means taking on China. Look, I've got the bill. One I also did with Senator Slotkin. No Chinese Cars Act. We have to stop these guys from coming in to our market, lowering costs up the wazoo that only feeds their Communist Party. That's not correct. That's not going to work for us in Michigan. We can build affordable cars here in Michigan without having the Chinese come in and eat our lunch. Not on my watch.
30 seconds.
There's a reason that the UAW has endorsed me in this race. And they endorsed me in this race because I understand that the biggest challenge we have right now, the thing that is throttling our ingenuity, is the fact that our corporations are a lot more interested in a quarterly bottom line than they are in the long-term sustainability of manufacturing. I think we need to think differently. That means standing up to Wall Street, not taking their money to run your campaigns. And at the end of the day, the reason I believe in money out of politics, then money in your pocket and Medicare for all, is because as long as we're taking money from those corporations, we are not going to regulate them.
30 seconds.
Look, I have taken on Vladimir Putin when he stole my constituent, Paul Whelan, and held him in a Russian prison for 5.5 years. I am taking on China now and standing up for our jobs and not letting them flood our markets through the North or the South. Their technology cannot come in here. This is about our way of life in Michigan. This is squarely why I'm running for U.S. Senate, to articulate this and defend it and protect it at the lawmaking table.
Time to wrap up this debate, if you can believe it already. You've done a great job in keeping within your time frame. I'll ask you to stay at 60 seconds with closing statements, beginning with you.
We just celebrated our 250th anniversary. I know what my life would have been without the opportunity to be born here. I saw that firsthand in summers in Egypt. I know what America can do for somebody. I also knew that 15 miles away, there were kids who never got that same opportunity. We have to build an America that can be what it was for me for all of her kids. And that means we've got to take on the ways that corporate greed have gotten in the way. We need to stand with working people, stand with unions. We need to take on oligopolies and billionaires. We need to guarantee health care through Medicare for all. Across my time touring the state, town hall after town hall, you could be in a church in Detroit, you can be in a living room in Lansing, a VFW hall in Escanaba. People say the same things. It just shouldn't be this hard. Shouldn't be this hard to afford your groceries. Shouldn't be this hard to pay your rent. Shouldn't be this hard to see a doctor in the richest, most powerful country in the world. And that means we've got to build a movement of people to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, and pass Medicare for all. I hope that you'll join us in building that movement. It's the many versus the money.
Congresswoman, 60 seconds.
I am fed up and fired up. I am fed up with Michiganders getting screwed over by bad policies that are coming down from the Trump administration that do not understand the first thing about us and that are raising our costs and impacting our way of life and coming for our jobs. I am fired up, though, to be your next U.S. Senator. I am fired up to lead for us on day one and when it matters and to be in this fight alongside you and your families. All 83 counties in this incredible state of ours, the largest state geographically east of the Mississippi, deserves its workhorse. And that is me. That is why I am on this campaign trail, listening to you, hearing you, and leading in that order. That is my ethos. That is why I am running. Let's go beat Mike Rogers, send him back to Florida a second time, and make sure that Michigan shines at the lawmaking table.
Wow. Candidates, thank you both for being here. I know it takes a lot of time and effort to do it. I know you know how much I appreciate it. I just want to make sure I say it publicly to both of you. I want to thank Amber and all of my colleagues here at Wood TV, our corporate staff who has been doing a great job and helping us from the get-go, to all of our partners around the state that are carrying this debate tonight. And particularly, I want to thank everybody who has just been here on the ground and helping us. A reminder to join us back here on Thursday night for a debate with the Republican candidates for governor. Good night from Grand Rapids.
Thank you.
Now that's what I call a cool story, bro. Back to the real.
Who won? I missed it.
Stevens, because that's our APAC girl right there. Hell yeah.
I have a question here. Stream Rift.
If taxing billionaires don't work, what will? Taxing trillionaires next.
Quickly.
Wait, what's your real opinion though? I didn't get to watch all of it.
Well, I mean, I like Stevens, and so I mean, in terms of like
sloppulous answers, etc.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, like in terms of like who performed better, I don't know who watches these. I mean, like, I like everybody has their opinion. You guys saw how media works, but I, like when people are doing debates and it's like 30 seconds for you, 30 seconds for you, 30 seconds for you, 30 seconds for you. I don't know. It's super boring to me. There's no back and forth. It's just like give me your campaign talking points. So I don't know.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Damn it.
Accountable. So it's like the violation didn't happen.
I spoke with McConnell for 20 minutes this morning. He said we should end the war in Iran, quit giving aid to Israel, stop spying on Americans without a warrant, and he's really sorry about how my primary turned out.
Aw, what a sweet guy.
Any of that. This is all. I never said what you're just saying.
Okay.
He absolutely could.
We do got.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on.
Here, I have a question here.
Dev,
Stream Rift.
Quickly.
What?
God damn it! Your shitty Miami internet, man.
Wait, people are putting Fs. Is it crashing for everybody or?
No, your stream's fine.
Oh wait, no, it ended.
Pick that event because it like predates when he
Did he
assumed
accidentally
office.
do that? Oh, his shit must have fucked.
Weaponization. That the government individual.
Them. Wait. Do not save them. So
maybe you should go get one.
The big boys are talking now. Go drink another episode.
I do actually have a response to give.
Okay. We actually have to address something. Dev, you had a response to some of the things.
Yes. No. Do not save them. Wait. Do not save them. Do not save them. Wait. Do not save them. So first of all, the question was asked. The question was asked. Stop.
Oh my God.
So he complained I didn't answer the question. So he complained. So I'm gonna finish if it kills me. He complained that before I asked my question after he derailed, that I wouldn't answer. So I answered the question. The question was, is funding someone? So the question was as follows: is funding someone who happens to be an illegal immigrant corrupt? I said no, not necessarily. That answer was true, and that answer was accurate. And I gave an example of you would acknowledge that notwithstanding that you're funding illegal immigrants. But I answered the question accurately and honestly. Now we're gonna go. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at your claim. Your claim was sanctuary cities are corruption havens, and your evidence of that is, well, look, they elected an illegal immigrant, and then you're like, wait, where did they do that? And then they said, oh, it happened in Iowa, and then I was like, well, is Iowa a sanctuary city? Like, no. And then I looked into it. Let me finish it. You're not. He's not getting away from this. This is his example. This is his example. We're gonna go through it. So you get debunked. This is MAGA. I didn't go through it. So this is exactly the. No, let me finish my fucking thought. This is exactly what we're getting. They bring up their own example. They bring up their own example of sanctuary cities, and they say sanctuary cities allow for all of these candidates who are legal to go to office. They brought up an example. Gibbs brought up an example in Iowa. And in Iowa, it is not. Not only is it not the case that it's sanctuary city, it is against the law. It is against state law in Iowa to have a sanctuary jurisdiction. So I'm going to ask Gibbs. That it isn't true, right? That your example is furthering your point, correct?
I literally said, if you had listened, clearly didn't. I was like, and I'll give you an example of a non-sanctuary city. And then I gave the Iowa superintendent who was illegal at voting local elections.
Sanctuary cities. That's what you were asked about, not non-sanctuary cities. That's your example, right?
Both to be true.
Okay. Look, Gibbs, just a simple thing. Just a real simple thing. Do you have an example from a sanctuary city?
Absolutely.
Nope. Sure. Yeah, you got. I mean, really? Okay, sure. Any election that the legal alien voted.
Did we ask for non-sanctuary cities, or did we ask for sanctuary cities?
Hold on. We asked you. The topic once again is fraud, and what's worse, basically, is how I understand it.
It's about corruption, actually.
What's corruption?
Why no? It's about corruption.
Hey, listen. It's crazy. Is I can still do this from the hammer, and I would still be more coherent and more correct than you ever would be. Just like you got caught here when you tried to pass
What is the example? Hold on, Gibbs. What is the example from the sanctuary cities of an illegal immigrant?
I will address that.
I just want to answer my question.
I'll give you an example. Any election that has been held where legal citizens are got the vote, that is a fraudulent election, in my opinion. And
okay, which election?
Hold on. That's what you said. You just
election fraudulent. Was election fraudulent? Yes or no? Was election in 2016 and 2024 fraudulent?
Those are different things. Once again,
wait. Did illegal immigrants vote in 2024 and 2016? Yes or no?
Yes. Those are fraudulent votes.
Okay, you just said if an illegal immigrant votes, it's a fraudulent election. You just said that, right?
There's a difference between a federal election where it's illegal for them to vote, and then they get caught, and a local election where they're encouraged by the Democratic Party to do so.
How is this legal corrupt?
Well, how is it legal?
Apparently, Connor Murphy died. Who's Connor Murphy? Did we watch a video of that guy? Oh, okay.
Okay, stop. Hold on, stop. All of you, stop. All of you, stop. Okay, I don't understand in a fundamental level. While if a locality wants to enable any voter, illegal or illegal, to vote in their local election, how that is corruption because the local citizens have decided to do this. Why is that corrupt? You could say it's wrong. You could say it shouldn't be done, and you would disagree with it. But walk me through, please, how that is corruption.
Do you have people now voted in illegal citizens where legal citizens? Do you have people that are voted in that are going to implement policy?
Why are you asking questions? Why don't you explain?
Obviously.
Why are you asking questions?
Because how normal people... Remember all those times you get lost? Give just a second. You know how you get lost? The reason why you get lost is because you don't let people ask questions to check in along the way. So if you say, would you agree on this? Yes. Would you agree on that? No. That's how normal people talk.
Pass out how drunk you are.
I appreciate it. I am too.
Okay, you asked me a question. Will someone getting elected make a policy? Yes, that's obviously.
I do want to rebuttal this real quick, this drug claim that keeps saying.
I don't care about the drug claim. I don't.
You admitted it. You said you were plastered.
I once again never said that.
He said he could beat you if he was plastered.
I will beat you. Here's what the best part about this is. Once again, I've already laid out, streamers laid out how this is fraud on multiple levels.
No, you have. That's the thing. That's why I asked, like, how is this corruption?
You have to save them. I got you. Hold on. Let me help you out there. So you can stop saving PISSCO.
I'm not saving PISSCO. I'm trying to understand the fundamental pillar of your argument.
Okay, cool. It's real simple. Once again, this is why I gave the example in the town. If I started importing illegal immigrants and we started voting, these people are never going to get saved. Now, what's going to happen next is we're going to have people putting policy in there that's going to benefit me exclusively and benefit the people I have under my payroll, i.e. the legal immigrants, right? Because guess what? I can pay them as a ranch owner, and that's not illegal. Guess what? So then once again, I turn around. This is a corruption at that point by the legal standards, right? But it is corruption when we start looking at the overall, because I'm impacting people not only in my county, I'm impacting people Texas-wide because of policy that goes against what federal mandate is, which is federal mandate. You
don't like the policy, therefore corruption. That's your analysis.
So once again, when we talk about, hold on, let me finish though. Once we get what we just talked about, what PISSCO did is so dishonest. What PISSCO said this whole time is very dishonest. And so take one thing out of context, like, oh, well, the person donating to said campaign, that is not corruption. That is not corruption. Like, I think that is not corruption. That would be victim. They would be the victim of the fraudulent campaign where someone who is illegal has ran for office, like the Iowa example. Yeah, and that's what
Gibbs, like 20 minutes ago, I asked for evidence of sanctuary cities allowing illegals to vote in order to corruptly entrench Democrats into power. I haven't heard an example of that yet.
Oakland and San Francisco both allow illegal immigrants to vote, and both of those have people I would argue been put in power because of illegal immigrants.
In federal elections, or
do you have names of candidates that have been put into power in these places?
Any candidate in those towns that are Democrat, like because of
Oakland and San Francisco. Okay, that's the claim.
No, but the question is more fundamental than what Whick asked. Whick asked the fundamental question, which is, let's even grant it. Many of these jurisdictions require you to be a green card holder, but let's just put it aside. Let's say that a jurisdiction grants, and the citizens come and say, we actually want these people to be part of electing local superintendents or whatever. We think they're part of the community. How is that corruption? That was the question that Whick asked.
Yeah, so a very clean answer is the fact that it manipulates the amount of congressional representation that they get and affects the amount of votes that California and
hold on. Just as a matter of fact, the allowing them to vote or not allowing them to vote will not change the amount of representation. That's both based on the census, and the census does not consider whether you are voting or not.
Well, it could affect the state legislature. If you're voting at local state level, you could affect state policy, which is still millions of people. Like that is
real question. If every province that had a sanctuary city that got 1 million Americans got an extra 20% in the provincial budget, would you consider that corruption?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Depends on the purpose.
Yeah. So let's say there's
implemented, and it depends on how it's implemented. But again, you're asking more questions. You're not explaining. You're asking more questions.
I'm interrogating the thought. We talked about this before.
I'm just trying to figure out how it's corruption. That's all. That's all I'm doing. I do need to get more super chats soon, but I'm trying to.
Democrats' best tactic is to plead ignorance and not know what we're talking about with obvious things.
Hold on. No, it's not. That's the problem. It's not obvious to me, and that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no, I think I'm making progress with Dev, to be honest. I've been very pleasantly surprised about how well this. So, Dev, you've got however many provinces you have up there.
We have 10 provinces and 3 territories.
Okay, great. So is that like, okay, so of those 13, if you get an extra 1 million Americans to come, they're illegal, but if you get them to come anyway, your province gets double the budget. So all of your taxes are cut in half, benefits are doubled.
Is this guy Canadian?
The provinces and territories have that set up. Would you think it would be fraudulent or corrupt for one of the parties to make a sanctuary city for Americans to try to get them in, so that way they could get the votes and also help secure the control over that budget?
If it turns out that all of these illegal immigrants overwhelmingly vote for one party over another, yes, that can be corruption. The issue is that I don't see this. I don't see evidence of this happening in the States.
Well, and that's fair, and that's why I appreciate you.
Well, you understand that's why they're asking for examples, right?
Everyone has been asking for evidence this whole fucking time, so don't have. Oh, we finally got to it.
No, let Riff respond to that, please. Let Riff respond to that. You understand that this is why Dev and me and PISSCO have been asking for examples, correct?
Right. So the premise here is that there's an unreasonable burden PISSCO likes to throw. He likes to throw a ton of questions, ask for far more proof than he'll offer, and come with no good faith. What Dev just did right here in real time was I said, okay, well, let's say we're not looking at the specifics before we go hunting for specifics, especially because it makes it easier to move the goalpost if you don't button it down. Let's agree. And I gave a very on-the-nose example. I haven't proved anything. But in application, what we know is California, for example, has sanctuary cities. Demonstrably. There's no question about that. Arguably, it's a sanctuary state. I don't know. And we got to believe it's an incentive for someone to come if they're going to be protected and they're going to get benefits. So there seems to be an actual act of corruption if you're trying to incentivize illegal behavior using government funds.
What is the evidence of that? Is what you're being asked for?
I mean, it's pretty clear that whenever everybody asks, I mean, this is a selling point for the libs that I hear all the time, is that all these people just want to come to America for a better life. And if one of those ways they have a better life is they can come here legally and get incentives like government welfare, or they can get government driver's licenses.
I don't like the term corruption here. I guess it's like, they're kind of sort of arguing on this, but it's like, what is, like corruption, fraud, waste, abuse, like all these terms, they just seem to be stand-ins for like policies I don't like. And then, I don't know, they just argue about how much they like or don't like them. I don't know.
They get into programs like, I don't know, trucking programs. We've seen that kind of be on the news recently. Some have been legal, some have not. I mean, these are all examples of incentives. Now, I don't know about you, but now, hold on. I've done sales for my whole life. Now, I've done sales my whole life, right? So I guess this is anecdotal. But part of the way you get a sale is you hit them with all your incentives. And this is the same thing here, is they're selling this to these people. Now, I know you're a lawyer, but it seems to me like you should have gone back to community college and took a logic class, because this is an A to B to C kind of thing right here. And I don't know why you're exactly confused about, if I get an incentive, if I have an incentive, tell me like
senior moment or something.
Oh, yeah, senior moment. Well,
yeah, so like,
that's a good one.
This has been a thorough, so we've tried now numerous times to engage your immigration arguments in good faith. You have zero evidence.
I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go right here.
Other than
the DNC, literally, the Biden administration told the state of Virginia they cannot take illegal immigrants off the voter rolls. This happened in more than one state. So when literally the weight of the state is being used to prevent the purge of illegal voters, that seems like corruption to me.
So there's federal law that prohibits certain clearing of voter rolls, and that is as a matter of federal law.
Yeah, you're defending it right now. You're defending the right of the illegal immigrants, the dead voters, to be able to
vote. That is a decision. What you, again, as you guys manipulate, twist, and outright lie, what you're referencing is a slew of challenges where the courts upheld the statutory commandment of Congress to limit when you can purge voter rolls, and you're saying that states being in compliance with binding law on elections is evidence of corruption. It is laughable. You have had the opportunity now to make your case about democratic. You have had the opportunity now to make the case for democratic corruption. You wasted all your time on these bullshit policy arguments that are not corruption. So why don't you defend the actual corruption that we're seeing in the scores of different areas, billions of dollars in the Department of Justice most specifically? So why don't you defend that? How about the slush fund? Do you support that? Is that corrupt? Yes or no?
No, it's not corrupt. It's a normal executive function. There's an expectation that they have liabilities with the chief executive officer. Let me answer you, retarded.
You've lost the whole argument. If you're going to claim that that's an ordinary executive function, which, by the way, not only is it completely not, I'm pretty sure it's like expressly forbidden that you can just spend funds however the fuck you want from Congress. Not only that, it got thrown out. Like, it didn't even, or wait, did it get thrown out or did they just abandon it? They might have just completely abandoned it because I don't think they were ever going to be able to defend that shit. So, fuck this. Come on.
If you let people answer. You sit there and you say, oh, well, people can't answer. Oh, they don't answer. So
you just said it wasn't corrupt.
The chief executive officer of this beautiful country
gets to do whatever the fuck he
knows there's
wants.
an outstanding liability. Things like the FBI going after conservatives, people being censored and silenced, people being held without proper charges, all sorts of civil liberty violations.
Get me the fuck out of here.
It is the most normal thing in the world to allocate funds for expected litigation losses. This is fucking normal shit.
What they're trying to tell you right now, what these MAGA dick sucks are trying to tell you right now, is that Trump being on both sides of the V. He is the plaintiff in the case, and he also controls the Department of Justice, giving a generalized fund of about $1.6 to $7 billion to be used on the people where he is in charge of where this money gets doled out of ultimately. That is not.
Doesn't the judiciary have to sign off on this? So we literally still
let PISSCO finish.
No. So he was.
You're making a bullshit point.
It was a collusive lawsuit in which he is operating as the plaintiff and the defendant, and he's created. Oh wait, what about that is bullshit?
What?
Yeah. He's saying there's no factions within the U.S.
So hold up. Let me answer this dumb man.
Dumb man.
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready.
You just said it was false, but
whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Said you made a bullshit claim.
Okay. Well, you've asked. Hold on, PISSCO. You've asked him a couple questions. Your first question is what is bullshit? Answer that question. What is the bullshit?
So Trump did not make the DOJ spy on him before he was even elected as the president. So the fact that he happens to be holding the title of the president right now is at least slightly limited by the fact that when they started violating his rights in some of the most egregious ways possible, including violating the Fourth Amendment, they did that both as a sitting president and as a citizen. That's kind of fucked up. He didn't make him do that.
When did they violate Trump's Fourth Amendment? So first of all, your argument is bullshit because I'm asking you.
You're too stupid to know this. What is it?
I'm asking whether or not what aspect of the collusive lawsuit was bullshit. But now let's get more specific. You said
you added
Fourth Amendment. So you said Trump's Fourth Amendment rights were violated. When were they violated?
Starting no later than 2015, counselor.
Wait, what happened? What was the thing that was the violation of
Trump's
There was
a FISA warrant issued on a U.S. citizen, and they did illegal wiretapping. Crossfire Hurricane, the sealed dossier. It's all
was there
out
a warrant issued on Trump?
I have a question for you. Did he make them have to do that? Did he make them do that?
So does Trump? He didn't have control of it. No. Does Trump have a Fourth Amendment?
How is it collusive?
Does Trump have a Fourth Amendment?
How is he on both sides of the V?
Hold on. PISSCO's asking a question. He answered yours.
Fourth Amendment interest. Does Trump have a Fourth Amendment interest in the communications of Carter Page?
So what part of a U.S. citizen and the sitting president had a wiretap on them with an unlawful warrant? This is only in the wake of
Carter Page. What's the Fourth Amendment violation?
So they use
Trump have a Fourth Amendment interest in Carter Page communications?
Let me ask you a fucking question, you retarded waffle. Okay, does the FISA warrant, are those for U.S. citizens or for, and I'm going to give you a hint, the F in FISA is foreign. What is it? Are it a foreign warrant?
You don't know. It's so laughable. It applies to both. You really think that FISA only applies to non-citizens? So FISA applies more broadly. But that's not the question you were asked. The question is, does Trump have a Fourth Amendment interest in
I said your claim was bullshit.
Wait, no. You said that Trump's Fourth Amendment violations were violated, and you pointed to the FISA warrants against Carter Page.
The underlying argument isn't what you're pushing at, though.
Does Trump have a Fourth Amendment interest in Carter Page's possession and communications?
Yeah, but he had a civil rights violation before he was ever even elected.
Hold on. Stop. He is asking you a question. Just say if you don't know, it's okay to say I don't know.
Well, he already gave
I'm going to say I decline to answer. Next question.
Decline to answer.
If you had an IQ as high as you think you had, what you could do is literally say, do you know this thing? And if I said no or I didn't, you could have walked through it. But instead of doing that, you say, do you know Carter?
You made a claim.
The thing is, he's so... I don't know why PISSCO agrees to do this. He's so far behind in this. I don't think he realizes it. I'm pretty sure the argument that PISSCO is trying to make, but he can't even build it because this guy literally doesn't know anything about what he's talking about, is that you're claiming that Trump needs to reward himself from some slush fund because his rights were violated because of this FISA warrant claim. But Trump, I don't believe, was ever the target of an actual specific FISA warrant. It was people around Trump. Some of Trump's communications might have gotten picked up as a result of that, but it wasn't Trump himself, I don't believe, that was ever targeted by that FISA, by any of the FISA warrants or whatever, right? But I don't even know if the guy's aware of it. So then the next question would be, so why would Trump be allowed to sue somebody or be allowed to have some slush fund to reward him for litigation costs when he wasn't even the target of the FISA warrants, right?
Yeah. Policy disagreements
or
situations
we're back.
In their mind, the Democratic representatives are not listening to, honestly, to the will of their voters, as though those were corrupt, and instances where they were just flatly contradicted by the facts, including when we were asking for examples on their sanctuary city corruption theory, about when that led to the kind of broader systemic corruption they were pointing to, and they were just debunked time and time again. Specifically debunked on the Des Moines situation of the superintendent. Specifically debunked on the rationale regarding why the lawsuit was filed in the collusive slush fund case. And in every one of these, you had nothing but deflection to matters of political disagreement regarding immigration policy. I think at one point he brought up trans policies. What the fuck does that have to do with corruption? Just absolutely nothing. Nothing to say. In James Comey, they think the James Comey indictment is above board, but they have a problem with the Letitia James civil case because they've never read the legal theory on the Letitia James case and why, notwithstanding the fact that you have a bank who doesn't really care that they were defrauded, that you can still have someone be defrauded and it not being an element contained within common law fraud as understood in New York court. But they don't know that shit. They don't know that shit because they haven't done the research, they haven't done the cases, and the people who have done the research, the conservatives that are a little bit intelligent, or at least are aware of the track record here, they all acknowledge that Trump is historically corrupt. That's why they got to bring out these bozos and no one else, these low IQ nimrods, to come and make these kind of like basically filibuster nonsense arguments, half drunk,
low
half slurring,
IQ nimrods,
and
he
it
says.
has nothing to do with the actual obvious facts before you, which are the historic levels of corruption, abuse by this administration, and nothing even coming close from the Democrats. Thank you very much. I'm going to stay around for Collins and appreciate Whick.
Yeah, thank you. This has been a crazy debate, but here we are. Dev, go ahead.
So I do think that it's telling that we spent most of the time talking about Democrat corruption and almost no time talking about Trump corruption, when there is significantly more Trump corruption, in my opinion. One thing that we didn't get to, I'll just very briefly touch on it now, are all the pardons that Trump has handed out. So we have Jason Gallané for $200 million of corruption. Joseph Schwartz, $38 million. I think these are finance guys. Lawrence Duran, $205 million of Medicare fraud. Carlos Watson, $60 million of investor fraud. Trevor Milton, $20 million of investor fraud. Todd Chrisley, $30 million bank fraud. Julie Christie, $30 million bank fraud. Devin Archer, $60 million tribal bond scheme. George Santos, $1 million multiple fraud schemes. The list goes on, and these are all people that are Trump's friends that have committed fraud. They have been found guilty of this stuff, and Trump has pardoned them. That is ridiculous. It is insane how much corruption is just pouring out of the Trump administration right now.
Thank you.
That's his pardon power.
Thank you.
Gibbs.
Really?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. There's a reason, like Dev said, that we talked about Democratic fraud. It's because every time I open the door, I get slapped in the face with more Democratic fraud. It's like breathing air to these people. They're so entrenched with their degeneracy and their corruption that they can't even see what's in front of them. It's pretty obvious that's what happened. We got really in depth with it. And I mean, I really look forward to another debate by PISSCO where he claims he won and then deletes the VOD because he took a huge whooping from Papa Gibbs again, because this is about the third or fourth time that's happened. If you go check it out, every time I debate him, he deletes it because he took a whooping behind a woodshed. And I'm just saying that's really the fact. Now, if you like anything I had to say, and you hated everything I had to say, you find me over as Admiral Gibbs. And thanks for having me.
Well, thank you.
Wait, real quick.
Is this true?
I unlist all of my VODs and put them into a playlist, as is oftentimes standard.
So you're saying he's
for
right.
streamers. And but to be clear, you have been featured on numerous of my most popular debate videos, and so it's just not the case that you've ever impressed anyone with your bullshit.
I got no idea whether the
just
truth
real
of the matter
quick,
here.
PISSCO.
Let's give it to.
Don't delete this one just in case, because we missed like half an hour of the debate when Whick was
Yeah,
gone.
I'm sorry about
Fuck
that.
it,
It wasn't half an hour.
Yeah, you can't. By the way, that was
delete
that
my
was
VODs.
that was
The VODs are
supreme
all available.
bloviating you did while you were gone.
Okay.
My VODs are all
Gibbs.
available. I don't know. I don't delete my VODs.
Fair enough.
Okay,
I want to give it. Last word to Mr. Streamrift. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody being here, and especially Dev. I'll close on this. You're right. We didn't spend a lot of time talking about Trump, partially because the framing of is the Trump admin as corrupt, is a corrupt policy over 4 decades is just heavily weighted in one direction. By Dev's numbers, 3 to 4 billion. I would put, even if we triple that, let's call it 10 billion. The amount of money that the DNC has been able to funnel through manipulating the congressional representation to pass laws that set the budget and move money where they want is estimated on my research around 10 to 11 trillion dollars. So when that much money is getting funneled out the door, and we have people in Congress that are 70-80% of them are voting, they're voting consistently against their voters. When their voters make it clear that there's certain policies they want illegals guilty of crimes deported. They want men out of women's sports. They want to see some very specific things, and they're not getting them. Voter ID is the perfect example. Probably the
Hassan tweeted out,
best
"Oh
one
my
to end
God,
on."
Abdul is cooking in this debate so hard, the gap is hard to fathom." Thoughts?
True.
Majority of Democrats actually want voter ID, as do Republicans. The only reason it's a partisan issue is because the organizations like the DNC, which is far more corrupt than Trump, manipulate the way that American policy gets executed against the will of the people, which is the definition of corruption. And with that, I will just end again by saying thank you so much, Whick, for graciously hosting this, and PISSCO, fuck you.
Let me read some of these super chats, and we'll bring in some. And I'm gonna rapid fire these because I have to go through another site. Because
were you gonna join and ask a question?
Disconnected enough that
I don't know.
It doesn't come up on my main site.
No,
so I have
fuck
to
these guys.
do this the old-fashioned way. $2 from Dude Man Zoo. Say ponder the orb, Whick. Okay, thanks for the $2. $2 from Testicle Johnson. PISSCO was
Nope. PISSCO's what?
dishonest about what Streamrift said. I'm not.
Like, they can't point to any specifics, by the way.
Cheers.
Just note that there's zero specifics. What was I dishonest about what Streamrift said?
I don't know. Testicle Johnson, super chat me more money and tell me.
More around
$5 from Dr. Adam, Brigadier General, to say, wonderful panel. Discount Hassan, Kami Dev, Gibbs the drunk mumbler, Whick the wicked wizard, and some random streamer. Interesting panel today. LOL.
Yeah,
well,
if you complain, if you're
I'm not a
conservative,
commie.
that you're and you're unsatisfied with the representation on this panel, just think about what that says.
Wait, real quick. Auto cure casts like a normal cure. Like it takes ATB and it takes MP. This is nowhere near as good as I thought it was. Right? Like if I'm curing my person, this is not free at all. This is just... Oh, fuck that. Fuck. I should have never equipped
that
this.
shit's trash.
Shut the fuck up, you little punk bitch.
Can you just focus on definitely in the space and who talk about a lot of corruption, Democrat corruption, but are unwilling to engage? What does that tell you about
You're
that?
such filth that they won't show up for you. That's what my read was.
I personally...
And Gibbs is a nice guy.
I personally
$10.
believe the best way to win is let the Dems talk, and PISSCO's proving it today.
$10 from Soda Rush. Just looked up where the most fraud happens in the U.S. by states. Florida and Georgia immediately came up. California, in some stats, seems to come up as second, but the formers are first and third. Thank you for $10. $10 from Pondering Politics. Is it corrupt to receive money from fraudsters? I don't know if MAGA wants to go down that road, considering how many have given Trump money and Trump has pardoned some.
Yeah, like the reason we were trying to ask for standards of corruption is if you say, like, for example, in the Keith Ellison, that whole bullshit rabbit hole, that him being in the presence
Are
of
you
a
corrupt, yes or
fraudster
no?
shows that he was tacitly endorsing fraud, then holy fuck. I mean, we just have so much evidence.
But when the nonpartisan investigation
convicted fraudsters,
but the nonpartisan watchdog was told them about the corruption and then they turned it away. So when the nonpartisan watchdogs,
totally non-responsive to what I just said.
It's not just association.
Your standard, if your standard for corruption is
physical presence, look at it.
Well, hold on. You remember he's complaining about our standards. Your standard was out just alleged. So I mean,
that's right.
I think
his opening standard was
alleged.
So first of all, no. In terms of some of our corruption examples, there have been cases regarding the corruption.
You can stack
including,
steadfast
by the way,
block, really?
Courts that have found that the slush fund is unconstitutional, illegal. There, some of the cases that we're talking about are.
Isn't it great that we have the judiciary to hold this accountable? So in case there actually was corruption, that they're holding accountable to the judiciary.
I'm contesting the claim that Gibbs just said that all of our claims are allegations. No, there have been some determinations made by.
That's not what his claim was. He said that you start off with the alleged.
He did just say that. I don't know if you have like some kind of like dementia or something. He just said all they have. He said, according to our standards, he said, you're talking shit about our standards. He said, all you have is allegations. So you just said, so what you just said was, is you're complaining about our standards. All they have is allegations. All they have is allegations. And I'm saying, no, that's not the case.
Okay, stop. Well, all of you stop. All of you stop. First of all, you're fighting on every single fucking $5 super chat, and fair enough, right? But second of all, and this is to Gibbs and to Streamrift, and to Streamrift specifically, are all allegations equal?
That's not. No, hold on.
So let me answer Whick. Gibbs, let me just answer Wick. Go ahead, Wick.
We don't want to go down there.
Yeah.
Of course.
Are all allegations equal, right? Like, are some allegations perhaps more weighty, more credible?
No, they're not. And let me
others?
finish my point. Gibbs, hold up. PISSCO's opening, he went so far during his fucking 15, 20-minute monologue that he said, if we're going off of alleged, he introduced the standard alleged at the beginning. I took notes, you stupid fuck.
So just to be clear, I know exactly what I said.
Now you're running.
What I said was with respect to what I said was with respect to Andrew McCarthy, and what his claim was that the amount of corruption, even compared to that which is alleged. And when I said alleged there, I didn't just mean any crazy person.
Got it.
I absolutely said alleged. As alleged,
you also said the standard was alleged.
As alleged.
That's where we got.
I get it.
So
I still want to answer my question.
Oh my God.
$20 fight for a $5 super.
So only a bad faith piece of shit 2 IQ moron like these two individuals would interpret when I say that to mean anything that someone says, including right now, if I just
wait, get a handle on this. Can Pisco finish his sentence? Holy shit!
They're hacks.
Yeah, can we understand that?
Yeah, it's bad faith.
When normal, hold on, stop. I want to answer my questions. Are all allegations created equal? I think the obvious answer is no. Correct?
Yeah, I would agree with that, Wick.
Correct. So when we're talking about, at least, hold on, stop. So when we're talking about allegations in this context of this debate, we're going to assume that these allegations are credible allegations. I wouldn't bring up the allegation from some dude who DM'd me saying that Trump killed his dog, right? Like, just randomly. And I would just discount that. Like, I would just discount that, even though it is technically an allegation. So when we're talking about allegations, we're talking about, and we could have talked about this during debate, but no one decided to, right? Like, what is good? What is a credible allegation that
I made this point, Wick, and y'all cut me off. I made this point. My point was, he said verbatim, he didn't just do the little thing where he said, in response to whatever. He also said, the standard is alleged. That was his exact words.
What are you talking about?
So, listen, you go back and watch the VOD if you want, but those were his exact words, and I keyed on that, and I
what does that even mean? The standard is alleged.
That's a good question. Maybe you should have thought about before putting your opening.
No. So,
I mean, these verbatim what you said, and that's why I ran with the stupidity of why don't we just take everything Alex Jones said.
I was stupid because you misinterpreted.
No, I'm sorry. Hold on, no. I'm gonna finish now. No, you can be mad because I caught you with your misphrased words. And listen, if you use words poorly, and you get
this is such a shit show.
Has gone to your head, and
You got
So
it's okay.
just
we got look we
gotta let Whick run his show.
I may
Yeah.
mumble, but I don't.
cannot get a
It's
hold of
very
this
easy to
man.
understand
Okay,
for
here we
people
go
who
again.
for people whose blood alcohol content is in a normal range.
Yeah.
It's
I
easy
mean,
to understand.
You
We said
should maybe
so
drink some
the
alcohol
claim
because
is simple.
you're
That
mixing
the
up words left and right.
allegations
Like,
that the allegations that the
if you're not drunk, you're just
okay.
the
allegations.
We're never gonna get to callers.
It's very clear. It's very clear. I'm going to correct the. I'm going to correct the
Correct it
record. It's very
quickly.
clear.
You don't
It's
have
very
to correct the
clear.
record. We can just go back and
It's
watch the
very
volume
clear.
saying it.
It is very clear to anyone with
Yeah,
a
it's very
normal
clear.
blood alcohol content that when I was saying
Not
that
you,
the
because you don't
Rick.
even know what you said.
scale,
So you got the drunk
scale of
amnesia
the
hit, man.
corruption that when
Ain't that
so
a
when
bitch?
I was using the term alleged,
You
that what
can't
I was
catch you.
comparing, that
'Cause
what
you
I was
seem confused.
comparing. What I was comparing, so it's very clear
You feel
that
annoyed
when
this
I
is
was
when
using the
you
term,
do this to other
so
people?
it
Like,
was
yeah,
very
yeah.
clear. It was
Wait, what? Oh, is he doing Collins?
very clear.
It's
It was
clear?
very
He's about
clear.
to.
Huh?
It was very clear.
Huh?
It was very clear. It was very clear when
Yeah,
I
it's
was
very
using
clear.
the term alleged. When I was using the term alleged, it was in the context of comparing the magnitude of fraud and corruption done by one side, and that even the amount
Yeah,
as
yeah.
alleged as to the Bidens,
Yep,
as
gotcha.
alleged
PISSCO,
in
yep,
the formal
yep,
allegations.
yep.
You're right.
that
He's
is
right.
not close to it.
Okay,
That's right.
$10 from Pondering Politics. Trump is underwater in every major policy area in every major poll and is the most unpopular president in modern times. By his logic, Trump is entrenching himself in power over the will of the people. And I'm just going to keep going, right? $5 from
Polls are
Alish.
worthless. There you go.
Round of applause to StreamRiff for giving the most MAGA-adjacent pandering definition of corruption while Trump does nothing he was elected to do. $10.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
didn't have it.
even
They
on its
didn't
own
have it.
definition,
Hold on. They didn't
No,
have
we
it.
are not. Hold on. I'm just going to read these because you guys cannot be trusted to shut the fuck up and give a $5 answer to a $5 super chat. You just can't. None of you. You're all children. Okay? $10 from Star Wars and Bacon. How much do we need to donate to never hear Gibbs again? Give me $1,000 and I'll kick them from the panel right now. Dude doesn't understand basic English. $1,000. That's my price, Star Wars and Bacon. You can hit me up and we can figure that out. Pondering Paul and no, hold on. Never again? $10,000. Okay? $1,000 for a year ban. How's that? Okay. Pondering Politics for $10. The census counts all persons, not just citizens. It's been adjudicated by courts in SCOTUS. The last census was performed under Trump. Wrong on all counts. Thank you for the $10.
That's law.
$5 from Alishness. Insane Republicans complain about the census while they benefit overwhelmingly from the Electoral College. Are we agreeing that
Absolutely
is
true.
corruption?
No, the Electoral College is based.
$2 from Psychor.
Oh my
Did Lil Bro just drop a racial slur?
Nah, you just die.
Didn't
I
we?
think I heard one potentially of these, whatever he said about the states, the Democratic states.
Okay,
So,
I don't know.
clarification, you
I
called
have to go
Taliban
back
to
and look.
arms, right?
For what?
For Twitter memes against, the Hassan people or whatever?
Sure. What about it?
Okay, Parsec. We need the DGGL changed to the Taliban while we're doing this. Fix it.
Well, we're doing what?
Just random, what's the word? Education. While we're educating.
Okay.
That's it. I just wanted a new change.
No shot.
No shot on what? He didn't even hurt you.
No, he is hurting me. Okay. This guy.
But I'll say this. If you did say a racial slur, do not do that on my show. Okay?
Yeah, I don't do them on shows. I don't know.
Okay.
If it's me. I do them.
Lyrics, but people are saying that you did.
King.
I just
That's
don't.
a king right there.
Yeah, it was you, and you said shit skin. Yes.
Stain. Okay. Stain. A shit stain. Like when you don't wipe your ass.
You
it's just
definitely
stain.
said skin. And I know my four chancellors, so I know what that
Okay.
means.
Don't do that. And if you do it again, we're gonna have a problem. And by problem, I'm gonna kick you. Okay.
Oh.
$5 from Jay Shellman. Timo Andrew Wilson need more practice. Okay. $20 from C Goach. Say, Whick, dude just said the slur multiple times. What the fuck kind of panel is this? So first of all, I don't think he said it multiple times.
You can't even
I
say
didn't
a
hear it
slur
when it
anymore.
happened, but people were saying it did, and enough people were saying it that it probably did. So do not do it again. Okay. $10 from Natural Phenomenon. Natural Phenomenon. If importing immigrants into a state is corrupt, does that mean Greg Abbott was corrupt when he busted immigrants to blue states? If that helps Dems, why did he do that?
No, I do just have to interrupt slightly because we are over on time. I said I think 20 minutes ago I'd leave 15. This is shame on me. However, I wish to remain married, so I will go to dinner. But been a delight, everyone. Even you, PISSCO. Good night. Thanks so much. Catch you.
Thank you for being here. Bye-bye. Okay, $5 from Delay My Baby. Do you have any number you can tie to the DNC corruption to contrast against Trump? Also, are you comparing to all time versus a 2-term president?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't raise any allegations against the DNC. They literally had no allegations against the DNC. None of this. The SPLC is in the DNC. Individual politicians are in DNC. They don't know what the DNC is. And so they said DNC.
Top 5 slurs, Steve, go.
We're raising fraud estimates of like 250 to 500 billion a year. Some of the estimates I've seen. And so, like, if we're just going to credit that to the DNC, we just go back. I don't know.
What are you saying the DNC did? You can't even say it in like a complete sentence. The DNC did this, and now you can't even complete that sentence.
Well, the reason I can't complete that sentence is because you've interrupted me every time I try to lay out one more step in like 10 seconds. Even though you go out here and spur for like 20 minutes each time you talk. But sure, I can lay it out. Once again, they have encouraged illegal immigrants to come here. Then they've turned around and supplemented them with ID and given them a substandard status where they have a gray status individuals in certain places. Some places give them legal places to vote. That's corruption. Other places they have healthcare going to these people. That is corruption. We also have examples where they have this healthcare fraud going into these NGOs and then they're funded back and paid towards Democratic candidates. That's basically
healthcare illegal immigrants is corruption. Wait,
yeah, that's money laundering. Wait. Interrupted. You asked me about case and now I'm interrupting.
No. Wait, we can't itemize your list. You can't itemize your list.
Did I interrupt you when you gave 200 lists?
Yes. Hold on. No, all of you have been interrupting each other. So the answer is, did you interrupt? Yes, you did.
Except me, by the way.
Dev, you've been a good boy. Good job. You get a cookie.
Okay. PISSCO can't finish a sentence, and they're. I mean, I don't think it's the same, but whatever. I'll go.
I have a big list. I have a big list. I have a big list. Gibbs, I had a big list for sure. I said in the opening. So in the opening, I made it clear that I'm okay with us not doing everything on the list, and I'm happy to take one at a time and focus on it. But when you say, for example, when you go through your list and say illegal immigrants getting healthcare benefits from the government is corruption, I want to stop and interrogate that. And you don't want to have that.
Sure. Well, okay. Well, that's really convenient that you want to do that now. After you gish gallop the whole time, and every time I try.
No, hold on. No, stop, Gibbs. No, stop. All of you, stop. No, I'm saving the content because we cannot address the claims.
Destiny trying to call in.
Keep making 20 claims, and every time we try to drill down on one, you say, "Well, what about this other claim that I made?" Like, hold on, we got to get to one first. Now, PISSCO can be a little hyper autistic or hyper focused, I should say, and that's. Again, we should probably move on after a certain point.
The interruptions are to stop rambles. That's what they're.
But you ramble the whole time. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, but regardless, Gibbs, you still haven't answered the question.
I like top
left. They paid me $10 to ask you. Does that mean if importing immigrants into the state is corrupt? Does that mean Greg Abbott was corrupt when he busted immigrants?
That's a different question than what I was just asked. But sure, no, because guess who brought them here originally?
How did he just kill you?
Bro, you just asked a separate question about how much billions overall was it, how far we go back. Now you're asking me about a different super.
Wait. No,
hold on. I'm the drunk one. You're not talking. You don't even know what question we're asking.
No. You just added something else. You said, well, because they
want the ones you asked me at the last question.
You just added.
We're gonna be here all night.
I'll answer you.
You said Abbott doesn't bear any responsibility for that because there was an initial harm done by the Democrats, right? That he is allowed to like sort of ship off those illegal immigrants someplace else because some initiating event, correct? That's what you just said?
Sure.
Why is it pulling teeth to get you to fucking answer a question?
Because he thinks he's getting trapped.
You guys are so scared that I have like these prepared.
Yep.
Okay.
They're scared.
But you like delay so long. Why isn't that just like obvious what you're fucking?
Because he's trying to think of what the trap is.
So the initial event.
I'm just making sure you were done, so I didn't interrupt.
The initial event is them crossing over the border, right?
I mean that could be one of the initial events.
What is the thing that breaks the line of causality such that you attribute blame to Biden but not to Abbott? That's what the question is trying to inquire. And you don't want to answer. You're not going to get. Okay, forget it.
Okay, $5 for delay my baby.
It's crazy.
Do you have a number?
It's crazy that I can't answer.
We already asked this, but I'll ask this again. Lunatic Thinker, why are we wasting time listening to PDF file worshippers miserably failing at trying to convince anyone that the Trump crypto is not corruption? Well, $5. That's a question you will have to answer for yourself. I don't know. But thank you for the $5. $5 from Firearms and Fitness. The amount of blind faith and cope on the side of Trump needs to be studied for future generations. Okay? $2 from Greg Gill. Petition to change the term to Gibbs Gallop. Okay. $5 from Alishness. Do Gibbs and Streamrift realize that they're on a debate panel? It seems like they prepared for an episode of Alex Jones with all of these conspiracies. $5 from the Skeletal Big. If we go by dollar amount, Trump is more corrupt than every other politician in the history of the USA combined. $10 from Admiral Love. What is the point of this when the Republican side is literally incapable of tracking the arguments of the Democrat side on a basic intellectual level? $5
on
from
their own arguments.
True. Yeah. $5 from Greg Yale. Bottom left is so smug, but all he's done is conspiracy posts and refused to provide any evidence.
That's Stream Refs. That's not me.
Yeah,
That's
the
Stream
different
Refs.
bottom left.
Stream Ref.
That's Stream Refs. Don't you try it, you fucking gives.
$5 from Vishy.
Shout out to Destiny's Kick Chat.
Ask the conservative, conservative
Shout out to Destiny's
idiots
Kick Chat.
their thoughts
Why?
on Trump firing the
What'd they do?
Attorney General, Inspector General.
You know.
Okay, Trump. What is your a thought on firing
Gibbs,
Trump's
you mean.
firing of the Inspector Generals?
I am Trump. We are all Trump. No, I mean, I think that every administration should be able to enact the spoil system as they see fit. The Dems should be able to fire whoever they want to fire. The Republicans should be able to fire when they come into office. I don't feel.
So just a follow-up question from me on that. So you would be okay. So you would be okay if there was a bunch of.
What do you think it's a reference to?
That is a reference to I believe Andrew Jackson's practice of giving out positions to like members of his family and political
and how long is that?
As opposed to people who are competent, right? And that is exactly what is like this kind of nepotism. This is a thing that we like don't want, and that's why we want like bureaucrats who know what they're doing.
That's an argument.
If you reference the spoil system, that's what you're invoking is something that most people would think is like wrong.
Well,
He's not most people.
Not just Andrew Jackson. It lasted for about like I don't know, about 100 years, and then even then, after it was gone per se, it's still basically what we do. We have people come in, you appoint people that you want in there, you fire people that aren't. This is something that's common in the practice. Now, the difference is our administrations have gotten so large that it's not the smaller organizations that were under Andrew Jackson. There's other people that can just fire half the administration and put in 1 million people. We have massive bureaucracies now, and it's not feasible to go in there. We have lifelong employees. However, I think the spoil system is still relevant.
Yeah,
this
but
idea that we
you're
put
like,
people in there, and I'm okay with that.
It seems like what you're trying
at the high
to do.
level.
It seems like what you're trying to do is like it basically also what you started your intro with to go back to like Tammany Hall, but like Tammany Hall is corrupt as fuck. And if you want to talk about if you no, but you okay? So you don't.
I didn't
have
say
a problem with
confused about that.
So you have a no.
I said the Dems are Tammany Hall. No, we don't have to. I'd be funny to get that wrong too.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Check the tape on that. But so to be clear,
maybe you
think that Tammany Hall is bad, right? Tammany Hall's bad.
Yeah. Tammany Hall's bad.
Okay.
It's institutionalized corruption, just like the Democratic Party.
Okay.
Just like the Republican Party, right?
No. Just like the National.
Has Trump done anything corrupt that you can identify? One thing.
Trump is a populist. He's not the National Republican Party, so he's not.
No, can you name one thing? Is there one thing that you would say Trump is that did
sure,
was corrupt? I can tell you things that Joe Biden did that I thought were corrupt.
Yeah, let's go with the slush fund. Yeah, I don't like the slush fund. It's not my favorite thing. Let's say that's corrupt.
Okay. $5 from dilapidated
I'm
Chad.
What about pardoning all the January 6ers?
Based on the
They don't even think that was a bad thing.
Well, I'm assuming you're talking to me because I'm the only Republican, and it seems like, I would argue that once again, no, it wasn't an established federalism. It's a concept that PISSCO doesn't seem to like, and he likes the local states to like be able to do things over the federal government. He's not. He's okay with
you realize that you made the point.
Corruption.
So you made the point that federal law is supreme, which is a true point.
Yeah. So sanctuary cities is not a federal immigration law.
No. But the whole point of the sanctuary cities policy is premised on this notion of federalism and anti-commandeering, and you're going against that when you say they don't have the right to.
So if I was to like sanctuary city for like I don't know machine guns, would that be allowable?
Yeah, kind of. There are
machine gun different gun policies. Yes. Now machine guns are banned across the nation because there is a federal hook there.
So it's being here illegal.
But there is a federal hook there. But here's what you can't do. Here's what you can't do. Right? You cannot commandeer state police officers to enforce federal law against their desires, right? You can't commandeer them to enforce your executive policies.
The executive could not step in and force the local PD or the local officials to cooperate if they went to go in to find banned guns or something. They can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy because that sounds similar to like, oh, we can't make this mob guy rat on his homies. That's called something.
I don't. Hold on. They have a Fifth Amendment. Of course you can. Okay, that's built in the Constitution that you can plead the Fifth. Okay, but anyway,
I'm going crazy.
Okay. Anyway, let's keep going because we got a lot of these. Thank you for the money, gang. But god damn. Okay.
Money gang.
$2 from PISSCO. Is it Chilean or Peruvian?
Peruvian.
Okay, cool. Cruiser
I'm American,
25.
but,
this is to Dev.
That explains a lot. The difference between Peruvian cocaine and Colombian cocaine is very key.
Okay.
I'm not a cocaine user, but you would know.
$5 from Cruiser
Based on how you
25.
talk, I doubt that.
Dev, what is your key point of corruption Trump or his administration has committed, i.e. the biggest flaw?
I mean, for me, it has to be the crypto stuff, just because there's so much money that the number is astronomically huge.
Can I ask you about that? So, like, so you agree that that's like a outside the government. The government itself didn't do the crypto scheme.
No, you're wrong. So here's how they're involved intimately, right? So here's the yes, you're correct that the World Liberty Financial and the Trump meme coin, those are private enterprises. So you're correct on that. But the money that they're getting, both schemes, is government money, and what they're getting in response, in return for the United Arab Emirates, are like transactional deals on technology, access to American technology and deals they didn't have before. For Qatar specifically, they're now like this executive memo that treats them like NATO, that an attack on Qatar is an attack on America. So they're getting benefits from the government. No, they're getting benefits from this administration that is newfoundly
yes, it's using
crazy support for all these Arabs in Gulf states.
The reason why, even though it is private the reason why it's private organizations, right, that might be collecting this money, but it's still involving the government, is because Trump is the head of the government, and he is using that as leverage to bring in money for his personal corruption. It absolutely involves the government.
That's why he's getting billions. Why else would he be getting those billions? Why else would he get that money?
There's more to this as well, because Trump has directed his DOJ to stop investigating crypto frauds.
So wait, hold on.
He disbanded that agency.
Two questions, real quick. So y'all basically laid out that he might be enriching himself, right? Let's just say he is, right?
No,
However,
not my. He is. We know that.
Enriching himself. The report was $2 billion.
Okay, hold on. Once again, now is he in direct control of his finances?
What do you mean by that? In some respects, yes.
It's usually like when you're president, you give up your stuff, so no conflict of interest.
He has underlings, but no. I'm sorry. He ultimately he
hold
signs
on,
off.
Hold on, I'm just making sure that he doesn't directly
overall he's in control. He has control. He could change this as much as he wants, and so that's why, for example, he's directing. And the White House is directing certain deals, right? So one of the deals on the one that I brought up, Vulcan Technologies, on this like mineral organization that Donald Trump Jr. was involved in. He directed the Defense Department to get involved there, so he is controlling his assets. Now, he might not oversee everything down to the minute detail. He delegates for sure, but overall, the schemes are his, and he's right in on them.
Hold on. So you're basically, what it sounds like to me, because this is the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as he's running the successful, what they call a port barrel project. And if you study political science, you know what a port barrel project is. And so what we're seeing here is what he's done is he's pushed a crypto legislation agenda, which is something that I think is a good thing. Many do think it is. And then they have supplementary.
He's deregulating. He's deregulating.
Yeah, right, because that's a good thing. If you're, if you're in that economic
to not enforce securities laws, to not enforce fraud laws.
Yeah, we have too many regulations in this industry.
What Dev just said was true.
I agree, but I'm saying he's pushing an agenda that wants crypto to splurge. It wants to go boom. To the moon,
how's Bitcoin done under?
How is rug pulling? How is rug pulling with the meme coin helping crypto?
Today, by the way, because of what Trump
today.
How is rug pulling How is doing this rug pull? This massive rug pull. You have to acknowledge it was a rug pull. You don't think it was a rug pull?
I don't think it was a rug pull.
This is what I mean about you guys get stuck on $5 super chats. That was a $5 super.
Well, just real quick, Gibbs, you've seen this, right?
I got 10 minutes.
Here. The Binance founder, who was pardoned by Trump, holds 87% of Trump's stablecoin. How is this not some kind of
that's good business
quid pro quo?
Sure. Yeah, ask you this: how many if you this would be surprising, but I am somewhat familiar with.
What, you can't like a stable coin anymore?
Crypto in general is crypto seems to have most of these coins are held by a exclusive large group, and they'll release it in amounts over time. Now,
that's not what Dev is telling you right now.
Right,
so Dev, that's not the point that Dev is pointing to. Dev is pointing to Dev is pointing to the fact. No, you're not addressing what Dev is saying. It's a filibuster.
Because I haven't finished.
No, because I can hear what you're saying.
I will read the top line.
You're a mind reader. We have Professor Xavier over here, boys. He can read minds.
I will read the top line for you, okay? Binance holds about 87% of USD1, the stablecoin issued by a Trump family crypto venture, a greater concentration than any other major stablecoin has at a single exchange, underscoring the depth of the financial relationship between Binance, whose founder Trump pardoned in October, and World Liberty Financial, which already has a So listen, Trump pardons this guy.
UAE.
This guy's making tons of money off of Trump crypto. Is there not some corruption happening here?
Oh, and pause. One additional factor: the UAE specifically lobbied for his pardoning as well because they want to bring a Binance to the UAE. It's all there.
Pardoning is supposed to be a tool that helps heal America.
Bro. We can't do
gives
corruption.
us an advantage in crypto. How is this any different than Operation Paperclip? And I guess that might be a piece of shit fraudster.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going. $2 from Greg Yo.
That's crazy what you said.
$2 from Greg Yo.
Does rocketry help us get to the moon?
Okay, this is just okay. Greg Yo.
Are these coins going to the moon, or are they getting dumped?
Hey, I don't know. We'll see.
$2 from Greg Yo. Dev, you're allowed to talk sometimes. $5 from the pleb. Gibbs and Rift clearly went to school at the Quality Learning Center due to the sheer stupidity of their arguments. Pisco, let your partners talk.
They need some more leering.
Okay. $10 from B. Trump never stops being a Democrat and is setting the justification and precedent for 100 years the USA as a Nordic model government. Not the hero Gotham wanted, but the hero it needed.
That's an interesting argument. You could say, well, no, the Democrats have been more corrupt because Trump is a Democrat. But obviously, he's a registered Republican. He ran on the Republican ticket.
Odd Maidon Productions. The
Good one,
sharpest
Pisco.
arrow in a conservative's quiver is, I actually don't know what that word means, so I assume it means bad for $5. Okay. Oda Shara for $5. Why don't we know who attended Trump's crypto dinner? $5 from Natural Phenomenon.
So some people who go to the dinners, we do know. It just depends which one. There've been so many, and there's so much Mar-a-Lago related corruption too. It's not just the crypto stuff either.
Pondering Politics says, what happened to the last stream? Is it not? I'll look at that. It should still be up. Should still be live. There was a internet interruption that had to. Yeah. Anyway, it was text chat. Okay. $5 from Natural Phenomenon. There is no evidence of undocumented immigrants being sworn into office. They got citizenship before they ran. Trump cultists will lie like crazy. $5 from
When they
Allison.
lie too, it doesn't even further their point because the examples they brought up weren't sanctuary city regimes or were like not what they claimed that it was.
We're so close to the end here. Okay. $5 from Alice Ness. The Iowa school board was not election fraud. You don't elect a superintendent. They are hired administratively. They need to lie to get to a point. Some school boards operate differently than others. I don't know.
Maybe this is the Des Moines superintendent.
What? Isn't the superintendent always is an elected position?
We did get into it. I did find the information on it though, and the TLDR of it is that like this guy ended up having an extensive criminal record. He lied about having a master's degree in education. He was rejected for a green card multiple times. He basically spent like 20 or 25 years lying, and he was eventually caught. I don't think this is evidence of democratic corruption here.
$5 from Makia.
Hold on. There were several prominent Democrats in local and the state level that came out and supported it before all the facts came out. So.
Well, that was before the facts came out.
Did you just say they would be victims?
Well, hold on, Gibbs. You said it was before the facts came out, so they didn't know.
Yeah, before the facts became public. Before the facts became public, maybe
they didn't know. They didn't know.
However, based off the pattern, pattern recognition thing, this seems like someone they would have pushed forward. Oh, come on. Like,
look at the standard applied. Look at the standard applied to the superintendent
race. Are you kidding me? What do you mean?
So look at the standard. Look at the standard applied by Gibbs.
Yeah, I had a standard where I have evidence, and you have only allegations.
So the standard that you applied in the superintendent case in assuming bad faith, but with Binance, it's like, oh, well, he just really wants to have good crypto. That's why he had to make $1 billion off this scheme, World Liberty Financial. That's what think about what we could do with our science if he didn't do this.
Okay, hold on, just real quick. We do have more super chats, but I know that Gibbs needs to go soon to another show. Storm Wolf, Twink here.
Hey, what's up?
Did pay me.
Twink.
Yeah,
Twink.
It's a solid name. Did pay me to come and ask you some questions. So go ahead, ask your question.
First of all, fuck you, and streamer Gibbs. Second of all, Gibbs, are you aware of the recent trades that we found out happened? So you remember Liberation Day, we had those tariffs, right? And then on April 9th, the tariffs were relieved. A day before all of Trump's accounts, there were 327 new investments. Some of them were in stuff like steel, which were directly going into like the things that were going to be relieved by the tariffs. Do we think that was corruption? He artificially brings down stock prices, invests, and then you see a massive boom because he reopens these tariffs. Do we think that's corruption?
I would say I need to see more evidence. If that's corruption, then all the insider trading in Congress is also corruption. And you know, there's a real easy solution for this, brother. It's
wait, stop.
It's called
Is that corruption? It's a simple question.
Well,
Stop.
look,
It's a simple
depends.
It's a simple question.
Depends.
It is corruption.
Depends.
Thank you.
Hold
It is
on.
corruption.
It is
right?
corruption.
depends.
But just so you know, Gibbs,
But if you
just
buy
so you
the
know,
autopilot app,
just so you know, in
it'll
1 year, Trump has
Somebody
made more
bosses
money
do.
on the stock market than Pelosi has in 25.
Exactly. This is another thing. When we talk about like corruption, and Rick kept talking about how the DNC had so much corruption, you're comparing an organization of so many people over so long time, and it still doesn't reach the scale of what Trump has done in like a year and a half. Number two, the Qatar
made
jet
more
you lied
than
about
$500 billion
earlier.
in fraud?
You said it's going to his presidential library, and then you said it's
I didn't
saving
say
him
that.
money. Oh, well, it's going to his presidential library. You
No.
know that, right? It's going to
No,
his
it's gonna
presidential
be-
library.
One of them's gonna become Air Force One now. It's one of the Air Force
No,
Ones.
it goes into his presidential library at the end of this term, and then we have to
they're not gonna
refurbish Air
use it
Force One
anymore.
again. So we're not going to be able to use
still.
it. So
That's
we're not
cool.
saving money, and
So
they got
base.
NATO
I mean,
level
they'll use it
protection for it.
anytime.
Wait, Gibbs, you know they got NATO level protection right after that, right?
Yeah, why not? She's been assassinated, attempted like
Qatar,
what,
who
3
funds
times now?
Hamas, Qatar, who funds terror cells across the Middle East,
Don't
you
you
think they
support the
deserve
Iran
NATO
war?
protection?
You support Israel?
Hold on.
You're
hold
like
on.
an Israel guy, right?
I'm really more of the whoever makes me the most money guy, and you know, if we could sell weapons to Hamas,
Yeah, you're corrupt just like your daddy.
Wait,
Just like your daddy.
peace go. Can I just grill him on this? First of all, Qatar funds Hamas. Second of all,
Sure.
why are we giving them NATO
It's Qatar,
protection?
by the way. Qatar. Have you ever been to Qatar? I've been to Qatar.
I don't give two shits. Answer the fucking question.
Well, I will say this because if you look at our relationship with Qatar, all the way back to Bush Senior, right? Bush Senior was a former CIA head
Oh my
director,
God.
and then there's Texas A&M. Texas A&M has a school there, and that would say where he also has a presidential library in College Station. Why do you think that is? Do you think the former? No, hold on. What does Qatar do for America? That Qatar is basically the guy that we go in there and have them talk to all these countries that hate us, right? They talk to all like Iran. They
also
all
fund
these
terror
terrorists.
cells. Why would we
Sure.
give them?
Well,
Why would we give them NATO protection when they're just going to use that to fund further terror cells?
This is
Number
just
two,
soft power. In a
cool.
simple
I don't want to give
USA
soft power to
idea.
people who are actively funding
it's
hard
soft-
power
so-
against
so
us. Number
just
one,
to be clear,
but number two, you acknowledge that they're not getting any.
okay with
Wait, stop.
transitional
You
soft
acknowledge.
power, yeah.
Wait, so one, you acknowledge you were wrong by the Air Force One claim. This won't be Air Force One because it goes
guess.
into his
I
presidential
don't-
library, which would be.
Base. I'm okay with that too. I think it's
Cool, but then you fucking lied, number one.
rather
Number
burn
two,
it.
there is
I'd
no
rather burn
benefit to the United States. There's only benefit to Trump because he can still use that when it's in his presidential library. The United States government cannot.
Wait, hold on. So they're already in talks to replace Air Force One. They were already in the process of doing it.
It will
right?
end because
They're
it's
not
going to his
addressing what
presidential
he's
library at
saying.
the end of
Is
his
that-
term.
is that true? Hold on. Is that
Kick
true or
this
not?
motherfucker off.
Is that
Just
true?
leave.
Is that
You're
true or
not
not?
worth talking to. Just fucking
Wait, no,
leave.
please, I want to talk to him.
I'm sorry,
You
you
understand
can go.
that
What
once
you're
it goes
saying.
to his presidential library, it can no longer be used as Air Force One, correct?
Well, hold on.
You
I
know
don't
that,
for
right?
sure. I'm going to need to see evidence of that. But two, I mean, that may be true. I'm not going to dispute that. However,
That's
is it
their
being
plan.
used?
That's
Is
their
it-
plan.
Is it
That's
being
their
used in
plan.
Air Force One now?
It doesn't matter because you said it would save us money. It doesn't save us money because
And then
no,
Air
it
Force
doesn't
One was
matter
already
because it's a
being
matter of
refurbished.
protection.
It was a
If
big
it's Trump's
thing.
person.
Okay.
Just leave. Dude.
Okay.
If it's Trump's personal, sorry, I'm just gonna finish.
I mean,
If this
listen,
is
I
Trump,
can
wait,
only-
stop,
I
stop,
know
stop,
what-
stop.
I do want you
You're
to
talking
address
about. You're
Gibbs.
retarded. You stop. If this is going to be used by Trump under this term, which you said would save us money, but then it's going to his presidential library, it doesn't save us money. It is a personal gift to Trump that is then being used in exchange for NATO-level protection. How is that not corruption at an
I mean, it's
unprecedented
not.
level,
We
unprecedented event?
protect former presidents all the time with like using your service. I don't see this.
That's not what you're being. That's not what you're being asked about. Protection. That's not what you're being asked about. What you're asked about is the
Cutter
fucking
thing. I already
plane.
used the Cutter thing. I think it's a soft power where you go moving to transactional.
So we got.
soft
Wait, do
power.
you acknowledge that
So
the
Cutter works
corruption?
for us.
You all acknowledge that the protection came after he got the plane that is going to be for his personal use and then retired after this term? If that is true, is that not corruption?
As well as the
Look,
base.
this is
As
3
well as the
years
base.
of
If this
using
is
the
true,
plane,
wait, how about
they're
this? If
already
everything I
replacing
said
the
is
plane?
true, is it corruption? If everything I said is true, is it corruption?
No.
If.
Okay, we're
Okay,
fucking
whatever.
retarded.
Let's
What is
keep.
corruption?
Okay.
Wait, fine. One last thing.
Gibbs.
One last thing. One last thing.
One last thing.
The
I
Eric
gotta get
Adams
through this
incident.
specifics.
The Eric Adams incident. Eric Adams had federal prosecution coming up.
What is the stun that doesn't like show on your fucking bar? Is there a way to like put a materia in your thing that will give you a debuff resist against this? Like because you're not getting slept, you're not getting stopped. It's just like a stun. Is there a materia against this or no?
Trump said, if you help us with immigration, we'll remove these charges. Is that not corruption? Is that not a dereliction of duty to not actually engage in a federal prosecution of one of the most openly corrupt mayors in American
Democratic
history?
mayors. Yeah.
He's a Democratic mayor, huh?
Okay, but Trump does a quid pro quo to dismiss those
Yes,
charges,
with
which
the corrupt
Biden's admin was
Democratic mayor.
prosecuting.
Yes, with a corrupt Democratic mayor, they do a quid pro quo. Tom Homan is on TV on Fox News. You can see all their black and white. You have Scalia clerks who are working for the Department of Justice, just like lifelong appointees. appointees saying this is corrupt. You have all manner of evidence of this corruption. You have the judge coming out and saying, unfortunately, my hands are tied. I have to dismiss it with prejudice because what they were planning on doing was holding this over Mayor Adams' head to make sure that he was compliant. And you say it's not corruption?
Well, hold on. Let's just look at this real quick. I mean, I'm not super familiar with the case, but let's just say they go all the way through and he's convicted. All right, and then Trump goes, or before we convict Trump goes, you know what? I'm going to give you a pardon for this date to this date. Would you say that's corruption? So if I gave you a pardon for all the time you were here,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because my notion of corruption, you haven't explained what you yeah, so I'll tell you why. So if the pardon is done for an improper purpose, that is to say for personal or political gain, or to get compliance with a different sovereign using the criminal justice system as opposed to convincing people, as opposed to other legitimate means available to him, if he's using his awesome might as head of the Department of Justice, really, on his own view of the unitary executive, if he's doing that to extract those purposes, of course it's corruption. On your view, I guess no party can ever be corrupt.
No,
yes, I do. Yes, I agree. So to be honest, yes, I agree that the Biden party. I agree. No, you agree with that, but you won't grant.
I don't agree. I don't agree that it was corrupt.
Hold on, Gibbs, hold on, please, all of you.
And I said it was not corrupt for him to pardon his son.
Yeah, but you can hold on, Gibbs. You understand? You understand that when you say when
Dev, I got something real quick. So Gibbs,
let me get this out. Let me get this out.
Trust me, Whick. Trust me. Okay, I'm just going to show it to you. Okay, here, look at read this, Gibbs. Okay. The Justice Department has moved to dismiss corruption charges against New York Mayor Eric Adams, a Democrat, 1 day after Adams agreed to provide ICE access to Rikers Island jail. How is this not corruption?
Well, first of all, they should have been provided the access to the jail.
That's not the question.
That's how that works out.
How is it corruption, though?
But two, once again, I want to come back to the pardon thing. I said the Biden thing was not corruption then, and Whick, you can vouch for that. I was here.
Yes, but can you answer his question now?
Is this corruption?
Yes.
I mean, why is this corruption exactly? If you
okay, Dev, explain why it's corruption. Go through
a legitimate charge for the sake of
let Dev do it. Let Dev do it. Let Dev do it. Dev,
Twink here is doing a good job.
Sure. Okay. So, have you ever offered? Is a plea deal corruption?
No, not necessarily.
A plea deal is a part of our legal system. This is saying I'm going to dismiss charges that are being brought because you committed a crime, not because of a valid legal reason, but because I want a political win. That is corruption. That is
can you tell me the fundamental?
Wait. To be clear, if you thought the illegal immigration thing was because it was padding the votes is corruption, how is this not corruption? It's for a political benefit that you think is an improper action. The difference is.
Here's the difference, though. I don't see a fundamental difference between a plea deal and a dismissing charges.
Wait, what do you
get? Hold on, Gibbs.
Stop. I need to answer this question. What would Trump get if he told his DOJ to offer a plea deal? What is the response you get? A plea deal is just saying, hey, you do this, you get a minimal sentence. You're not exactly one, so you still get the guilty charge, which is important. But two. Wait, first of all, you still get the guilty charge. Secondly, you don't get a benefit. You don't get like some reward as the DOJ or the government. And the government is getting a reward from this.
Here's the point. Wait. And here's you're asking, like, what makes this different than like a plea bargain where
plea deals are in the service of justice too.
To some other people, right? Or you're giving some other benefit and you're solving another crime. This is the difference, right? Eric Adams' authority as mayor is. Wait, let me answer what you asked the question. Like, how is this any different? I'm telling you, right? Eric Adams' official authority as mayor is not his to bargain for his personal freedom and safety. He holds that position in trust, and anyone in the federal government, including and especially members of the DOJ, would know that. You can't trade away something that's not yours in exchange for benefits to yourself. That is the quintessential aspect of corruption that you seem to be missing.
Hold on. Here's the difference, though. Trump's job, here's the guy, with the DOJ, and especially Tom Homan, I don't agree with this. I think that this is not something nice. I think it's kind of gross. However, I don't think it rises to corruption because, one, Trump's duty to the American people that voted him in is to prosecute immigration. And if this gets him more of that prosecution, then that's going to be him following through.
Even if it entails,
that is the Americans' will.
So let's start with Eric Adams. You agree that Eric Adams is corrupt in leveraging his authorities as mayor? So no. Is that action corrupt? Yes or no?
Yeah, that would be corrupt in Eric Adams' part.
Okay. So that action, so we're building a tower. You just granted that action by Eric Adams. Eric Adams is leveraging his authority in exchange for a personal benefit. Is Trump doing something that necessarily corrupts a city under the jurisdiction of the United States? Is that corrupt as well?
He's not doing that.
I think the best thing.
Let me finish it. Asking a mayor to do something that you know to be corrupt is not corrupt. Why?
Yeah, because it's a similar precedent to like having the IRS collect taxes from drug dealers. Yeah, because you undeclare saying you know it's from criminal activity.
I think the best thing to do is just go through corruption examples and to show how insane their standard is. I mean, like this is the most obvious level of corruption in any admin. Shut the fuck up.
If that's not corrupt, nothing's corrupt. This is the most
obvious
if that's not corrupt, nothing is
ever
corrupt.
seen from any admin. James, you don't give two shits about corruption. You don't care about DNC corruption. You bitch about policy. By the way, you bitch about policy failures as an example of corruption, and then when someone's doing a quid pro quo deal, when someone's doing like literally insider trading, here we brag about his son doing insider trading, right? You probably don't know shit about that.
First of all, they did indicate they were going to change the policy. But second of all, you just said that the president asking for corruption isn't the president asking for corruption isn't itself corrupt. How can that possibly be? How can it be that the president asking for it, he knows?
But the U.S. government works with corrupt people all the time to accomplish political goals. Like we do it foreign seat.
Do they tell them they can go scot-free? Do people usually go scot-free?
Yes, all the time they do this. All the time they do this.
But if they do it for personal gain, is that bad?
Listen,
let's say the DOJ. Wait, let's say a district attorney says, "I'm going to offer you a plea deal." Let's say a district attorney says, "I'm going to offer you a plea deal so you campaign for me." Let's say a district attorney says, "I'm going to offer you a plea deal so you campaign for me." Would that be corrupt? Wait, answer that question. Would that be corrupt? Would that be corrupt? Hey, Gibbs. Would that be corrupt?
Would that be corrupt? That's my question.
Let's say a district attorney offers a plea deal and in return says, "You plead guilty and you better go campaign for me." Would that be corrupt?
That's corrupt.
Oh my god.
Okay. At least we have some standard. Do you think offering a plea deal to get unauthorized access to Rikers Island would be corrupt?
No, because once again, this is not for the. Y'all keep putting this
forward.
Because no, there's a difference. There's a difference. Hold on. This is your standard. You just put forward personal gain. Okay. The argument
Trump got personal gain from it. He got to enforce his immigration policy. He would not have been able to do otherwise.
Hold on. Actually, thank you for proving my point. That is not personal gain.
Yes, it is. It is a political personal gain. He did not have the authority to get Rikers Island abstinent. So he said, "I'm going to leverage a charge against you and say you better do this, or I'm going to these charges are going to continue. But if you don't do it, I'm going to do it." That is a definition of a quid pro quo deal that are often improperly carrying out justice. He's saying, "I'm not going to bring legitimate charges against you in order so I can get some benefit."
Here's the thing, and this is where I think we're having the big issue. You're saying him enacting his policy is personal gain, although
the methodology. You guys always do this hard thing where you only look at the action itself without looking at the methodology. You could maybe get access to ICE detention centers legitimately using charges against someone, a mayor, to try and get access to like facilities is almost certainly improper and dereliction of duty.
I agree. It is
dereliction of duty.
It is by the mayor, and so we incentivize them to do it to enforce national policy that the American people voted in. That is different than a personal gain.
You're defining your way against the policy. So you're
$20.
Well, because of course anything that Trump does is he believes in the
one. Yeah, I'm gonna read the ones directed to Gibbs. The super chats directed to Gibbs right before you leave. $20 from Eddie Bombay. Trump deregulated vaccines with Operation Warp Speed. High five me through the screen, Gibbs. Okay. $10 from Eddie Bombay. Trump deregulated use of glyphosate on crops. Gibbs, high five again, buddy.
Yeah, there you go. There's another high five. Actually, that's a good thing. But
and let me see. Are there any more?
I feel like that's something I'm uniquely qualified for.
I'm looking. I hope I don't miss any.
Gibbs. Did you just argue for Qatari soft power when you spent last week's debate with me arguing against USA soft power?
That was the joke.
It was crazy.
That
was a joke? Okay.
Okay, so this has been a joke?
So when America plays both sides of the war on terror, you think that's a joke? And that's just like whatever.
Like, it's funny to be like, I think we should have soft. I think we should give NATO protection to a country that's funding terror attacks against us and our allies. It's a wild statement.
Well, hold on. The problem is, I think what Trump has done is move towards more of a Don Rowe style.
We got one more.
Stop. This is a made-up term that means
we got one more for you, Gibbs. One more for you, Gibbs. One more. They paid me money, and I don't want to be corrupt. I don't want to be corrupt. I don't want to defraud my super chatters. Okay, they paid me money to ask you this question. Would the pro-Trump side of this panel admit that Trump is the most corrupt individual in all USA political history in terms of financial gain, if not the entire DNC, or no?
Yeah, I wouldn't admit that. I'm supposed to go Ulysses S. Grant most corrupt, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yep. I know you have to go.
Yeah, I do. Also, and if you want to hear more about the Don Rowe Doctrine, I just did a video. It's very interesting. We have a PowerPoint and everything explaining Fortress America, the Don Rowe Doctrine. Check it out. It's on Admiral Gibbs on YouTube. All right. Thanks for having me, guys. It was very fun. I'm going to go do a watch party for the social.
Bye-bye. Okay, I'm going to read the rest of these super chats.
Can I make one quick ask of you?
Dude, that guy has to drop like a mumble rap album or something.
One quick ask of you, Whick. For these panels in the future, you need to define terms like corruption ahead of time.
They'll just change it. Like, I've tried to do that. People ignore the definition.
Okay.
They don't. It doesn't
No,
matter.
that's fair. You have more experience. I thought
Right? It doesn't matter. Like, you'll get them to agree to a definition, and then they'll bring up another one when you get into the actual thing.
Or they'll just refuse to engage.
Yeah.
If you try to clarify your semantics. So like, I try to do that with Ryan on clarifying semantics, and he's just like, whatever you think it means. It's like, okay, it's pointless.
It's just
They're
it's
obviously
insane to have like
bad
policy like failure. And I know
agree.
streamers because I hang out
You're
on the
right.
server. I knew he was gonna do like immigration is corruption.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I have. No, you're not wrong about that. They just like they're not honest, and so they don't give a fuck.
It is what it is, gang. But I do think that these are useful, and I'll say this as kind of the ending before I read the rest of the super chats. You guys can leave if you need. I think that these things are useful to see the non-answers, right? To see them obfuscate, to see them dodge, to see them not actually address what is being brought up. I think people who are honest in looking at this can see that kind of behavior, and it does sway them against that. I think when people see someone who is dishonest, unless they're already on the team, it tends to turn them off. And so that's why I think that these are useful, even if you think that, oh, these people just dodged the whole time. I still think it's worth having these kinds of shows.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I know it's frustrating though. I get it.
I also wasn't saying don't host these panels. I just wanted to have more. I was just trying to make a suggestion.
I know, I get it. And we try different things. And like tomorrow we're gonna have Soy Pill versus Deej, and I think that both of those people will have. I think that Deej will engage differently than Gibbs.
I think it'll be fun.
Should be interesting. Tune in for that. What else does everyone else get? Well, PISSCO, what do you got coming up? Are you going to LibCon, PISSCO? I'm just real curious.
LibCon?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't invited. I have a big trip coming up in a few weeks, but no, I was never invited to LibCon. Bro.
It doesn't, like, yeah, you can just go. Like, you don't have to be invited.
Oh, you can just go. Where is it?
It's in DC.
When is it?
16th and the 17th. It's a bunch of people coming,
soon.
and like you can just, go.
I'll see about it. I'll see about
Yeah,
it. I know
to
people.
you. I mean, like, it'd be nice to say hi. And
I know it would be nice to connect with people. I appreciate everyone. And listen, I get angry and animated at this because, fuck, I love my country. I love, I was really gutted when America lost yesterday against Belgium, and because I just want to see this place succeed. I want to see America be the best, and I get very passionate about it. And so when I see, whether it's in soccer, Trump corruption edging its way in, or when I see our country being like dragged down by these degenerates, it makes me mad. Like the fact that people can come up here and just bald-faced just say random shit that they either haven't looked into or just like spitball. And at one point it's like, wait, you said something about Oakland, right? And they're just like, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, or they're just lying. It just makes me mad, and it just like brings out my passion. And maybe I yell too much or whatever or interrupt, but I'm just trying to keep them on track, because if you just let them go, they'll just start talking about every policy and trans stuff. They try to do it. And so there has to be a way to finagle the conversation in a way. And I appreciate, though, Whick, that you're still doing these panels. For me, it's hard to get MAGA people and Trump people to actually engage and to come into debate. I don't know where they are. I'm trying to find them.
Well, one of the problems is that when you do try to force them to answer questions and actually like guide the discussion, they'll claim, "Oh, you're just helping the other side."
Yeah.
And it makes it impossible. Like, they will only go to places where they are able to bully the moderators to doing what they want. And when you don't allow that to happen, you're seen as a biased moderator, and that's a frustrating event. So,
and I appreciate also Dev. Dev, thank you so much for like doing the fact checks in real time. Those fact checks should have been devastating. They should have detonated in their mind. Devastating.
They did
devastate
them. Get it?
Yeah, but they just move on like nothing happened. Like we just didn't see them implode, and that Dev didn't just like absolutely annihilate them. And then at some point, the streamer guy goes and is like, "I feel like I could have a reasonable conversation with you, Dev. I feel like you've been," and like Dev has just repeated the same question he just asked about evidence for like the 10th time, as though like he hasn't just been crushed.
I was.
Well, their definition of a reasonable
I was
conversation is
actually-
like 1, a polite conversation, and then 2, a conversation
Yes.
where you guys are like, it's like agreeing to disagree the entire time, never actually having like a moving and like ideas like, hey, we're wrong.
I'm actually very surprised that Stream Rift even did this, because for a while he had blacklisted me over my political violence take. So I'm surprised he showed up at all. You know?
Yeah, you
he blacklisted you?
You should rethink that, by the way.
Nah.
Interesting. Well, to be clear, I invited him, like, I guess a little behind the scenes things. Pondering Politics asked me to set up a debate on this topic, right? And he wanted to see PISSCO or Dev and PISSCO, or Dev and, I forget the other one he suggested. But he wanted to see those people, Dev and Destiny, one of those two, right? And he wanted to see them versus MAGA's strongest soldiers. So I tried to get Rob. I tried to get what's his face, Ryan. I tried to get a few others, but yeah, they just, again, there's no interest in this topic from that side.
I tried to get Ryan. He wouldn't do it again.
Well, you say again, but like officially the topic in your guys' conversation was not corruption. It was like
no, I understand.
Bro, court packing, and he wouldn't want to do that.
No, he didn't want to. He didn't want to talk to me again in general, basically.
Oh, because you want him dead or something?
I don't want him dead, but
allegedly.
Yeah,
I thought he did it because his claim, as I understand it, is that you were drama frogging because he retweeted something that you think he shouldn't have.
No. His claim was that I have to retract my claim that he's a liar before he will talk to me again. But I do think he's a liar, and I'm not going to retract that. So yeah,
fair enough. Okay, well that's fair. I mean, like, look, I'm never going to force someone to be on a panel that with someone they don't want to be on with, and it is what it is. Okay, well.
Also, I kind of find that whole "you insulted my honor" thing to be kind of lame. It's like, no, Ryan, I think you're a liar, and we can still debate. Like,
sure.
You think I'm a liar? It's fine. I don't fucking care.
Okay, $5 from Pondering Politics says, I personally like Gibbs, but PISSCO got him on the 2024 election, LOL. $5 from Rien is a fish. Generally, what is the point of having Gibbs on the panel if he's just going to get smashed and yell incoherently over everyone else? I think we went over that already. It's a good demonstration. You can disagree with that if you'd like. $5 from Potter Tor. Gibbs think he is Hugh Hefner, but he's just a huge effer. Okay. $10 from Dr. Adam Brigadier General.
With all
Quote,
my
a very
achievements.
smart Kenyan. Corruption isn't bad. Corruption is only bad when I'm not involved. That's exactly how this panel...
I saw that clip.
That's exactly how this panel is acting right now, except for Dev and Whick. Okay. $2 from Tesco Johnson.
When did I say that I'm okay with corruption when it benefits me? I'm not okay with that.
$2 from Tesco Johnson. Bias moderator. PISSCO is lying. You got to be a little more specific.
He's just
specific. There's
he's
no
just
ever specific thing.
I know him. He's just shit posting.
Tesco Johnson's a little. He's a troll. He's just saying things to stir the pot.
Okay.
Otashara for $5.
Okay. We're gonna watch this tomorrow. We'll take a week or two break from Final Fantasy. I love you all very much. Be careful. Stay safe. Don't die. Wait, my 4x3. Wait. Bump, 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 bump. Wait, this is counting against my time. Sorry, hold on. Tweeting. Bop, bop, bop. Bump. Okay. Jesus. Fish, noggin, salsa, donut, lentil, bran, melon, bean, and cheese. Synonyms for head, like your noggin, your melon, your bean for brain? No. Bran, salsa, cheese, and bean. Things that go in a burrito. Okay. And then lentil, bean. Okay, bean is the word. And then I don't know what, I actually don't know what bran, I don't know what the fuck bran is. Fish. Donut. Oh my God. No, it can't be this. Oh my God, it is. What? Bran is some kind. Okay, whatever. All right, be careful. Stay safe. Take a deep breath. We'll be back tomorrow. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. For sure. Faux. Cheesy. Wait.